What the fuck's going on? Boys, girls, theys, thems, whatever, however, whomever you identify as. Welcome to the Downbeat podcast. We're in November. I don't know how we got here. We done a Halloween. I hope you dressed up. If you didn't dress up, I hope you had a good time. I hope you're continuing to have a good time. We got Crimbus coming up. That'll be good, won't it? Or if you don't celebrate Crimbus, then you've got a period of extended cold, unless you live in Australia, in which case you are probably not wearing enough SPF 50. Please pop some on, because it is a jungle out there. You got number one, you got spiders, and number two, you got that hole in the ozone layer, which you would have thought when I was a kid growing up, I thought they'll fix that by the time I'm an aged, decrepit presenter of a podcast. What have I been doing? Nothing. Absolutely the same old boring fucking shit that you've been doing. But I'm creating these things, podcasts. I'm doing it for you. I mean, I'm doing it for me as well, but we're trying to just avoid the chat, the COVID chat. Think of me as a sort of metaphorical plague doctor, if you will, shepherding you through the pandemic by means of entertainment. I've got the little hat and the goggles and the beak that they got filled with my blend of entertainment, herbs and spices. Herbs, America, not herbs, herbs. And I've got the cane or whatever they got, a stick, maybe a little bit of Downbeat branding on there. Let's brand this motherfucker. And I am going to shepherd you through this pandemic. I'm Craig the Plague Doctor. Americans can't say Craig though, can they? I'm Craig the Plague Doctor. I'm Dr. Plague. Got it. Okay. And if you like what the Dr. Plague is cooking, you can go to you can fuck that up. You go to www.thedownbeat.at, so it spells Downbeat, and you can pick up a t-shirt maybe, if there's anything left. If it's November the 27th, there's a brand new bunch of cool shit, like all over print stuff and some embroidered stuff. I'm not going to sell you on this for too long. If there's nothing there and you're like, fuck, that plague doctor needs more herbs and spices for his little beak, then there's a little donate button and you can chuck me some money. Someone just chucked me some money a minute ago. Let's find out who it is. Let's give him a little shout out. Josh Humphreys, Dan Patterson, Philip Blaney all donated this month, just out of the kindness of their heart. What lovely. Let's give them a little round of fucking applause to you guys. Thank you very much. And if you're just listening, thank you too as well. Just thanks for being here. My guest this week is Aaron Marshall. He's the brains and the brawn and the drip of Intervals. It's like a one-man band thing, but it wasn't a one-man band thing, and now it is again. It started as it, but then it isn't. There's a big story. We talked about that. We talked about microdosing mushrooms. We talked about fitness. We talked about just loads of shit. It was really fucking good. He's really good at guitar. He's got a new album coming out, Circadian. Might be out by now. Out November 13th. It's very good. It's not your typical instrumental guitar vibe. I talk about this in The Thing. In The Thing, it's called a podcast, mate. You do them for a living. I talk about how I can hear some unique influences, and it basically uncovers the man behind the music. VH1 presents Behind the Music, Aaron Marshall, aka Intervals, on the Downbeat podcast. Hello, Aaron. Aaron, is it Marshall?
Yeah.
I just in my head it's Aaron Intervals.
Everybody says that. Yeah,
Aaron
last name's Marshall. No relation to the British amplifier company.
Yeah, such a guitarist name. What's your name? Oh, it's Aaron Marshall, bro.
Named after a fucking whole ass amplifier. Yeah, no relation, but that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
I've got some things I want to set the scene right now, because I've started doing these on FaceTime, and because with a view, I'm going to be going video, but I want it to be super high quality. I don't want it. This would be entertaining for people to watch, and your quality is very good. But when I get like someone who isn't virtuoso guitaro studio guy, I'm going to get like fucking Game Boy Advance quality. So that's not going to happen. But You sat there in a lovely gaming chair. You got a lovely shade of grey on that wall behind you. And you got one thing about your photos as well. When I see them on Instagram, I'm like, you've always got the drip. It's a good look. Now I'm seeing this grey wall. I'm like, has the house also got the drip?
I didn't choose the drip in the house, so I got lucky with that. But massive accolade from the king of drip himself, though. I'm looking at, if we're gonna set the scene, I'm looking at we got a coral vibe happening with the.
It's exactly coral. You're right.
Coral, yeah, with the aqua. We got the aquamarine vibe on top, and we got this. So he's basically a merman, essentially.
What you can't see, I got the Nike Tech fleece camo on.
Let's go.
Like we got.
I'm actually wearing black Tech fleece right now myself. So
the best, aren't they? And you know what's the most annoying thing about them? Like planned obsolescence. They go bobbly in 1 second, but I will spend $100 on a pair because until that happens, they're the best.
Yeah, they're sick. The other annoying thing is Nike will give neither of us anything for talking about that. So
yeah, in fact, fuck them. Fuck you guys. Fuck the sneakers app that I lose on at 8 a.m. every single fucking morning of my life.
Dude, I kind of tuned sneakers out this year because we don't leave the house. So it's like, you know what I mean? Well, like a little bit. I mean, the summer was good, but now that it's getting colder here, things are. I mean, we're not going to do this conversation on the podcast, but you know what?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, Canada is probably resembling something similar to what you have going on in the UK. I think our governments are handling things a little bit different, but we're sort of receding back into the second phase of not lockdown, but I'll kind of like set the tone for you. Like actual lockdown was probably about 18 weeks of just nothing but the grocery store and the bank. And then in August, like right around the time we went to Ottawa to record drums for the record, that very week was when the gym came back. So, and it was like, you could book a 1 hour workout through an app. So I was like booking at a gym I've never been to, same chain of gyms, but like we recorded with Dean Hadjicristo out in Ottawa. Dean did all the latest Parkway Drive stuff. And maybe you know his brother George, actually. That's a tangent, but he does front of house for Parkway.
I may have met him, but I'm
fucking
terrible.
Legends. The both of them, just legends. So anyhow, we were out there, and I finally got the gym back, and then was able to train until about 3 weeks ago. And then when the weather got colder here and the numbers started to rise again, they took the gym off us.
The gym's gone again.
But there was like a little bit of a hopeful email that came out like about a week and a half ago where they were like, yeah, your membership's going to kick back in. It was only just for certain regions, just for Toronto proper, like where all the bodies are. And then I got an email like a week later that was like, write your MP about why the fitness industry is being poorly abused during the pandemic. And then I'm like, well, that's not very fucking hopeful.
Very opening next week of you.
No. And then I got an email this morning that says that they're reevaluating and valuing the fitness industry in a way that they have probably neglected or not considered in terms of, I mean, because, people, we're rehabbing injuries and stuff. It's not just about gains, right? So
I don't know where I stand with this whole thing because on the one side, our gyms only opened up again end of September. So I've only been back in the gym for a month.
Damn.
And I'm fucking loving it.
Yeah.
And mentally, I'm much better, and a lot of people are. But
all the things that you wanted from it, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, I know there's like statistics where they say in the UK, they're saying there's close to zero transmissions from gyms. But if I was to design a bacteria breeding ground, it would be the gym. So I don't know.
I feel the same way about it, but here's the thing. 0 outbreaks traced to gyms here. The only one that I heard about was just outside the city, and it was an independent cycling studio. So obviously with respiration in an indoor environment, that's what that's what you're asking for. But as far as the gym goes, like I feel so bad for anyone who who works at a damn gym, because now you're just a janitor, aren't you? So it's like, to be honest, man, it's cleaner than it's ever been. It's probably too damn clean in there.
I kind of love it. Like, everyone's wiping their shit down.
Yeah, it's the way it should have been. Yeah. But anyway, so like, fucking, we got the gym back, and then they took it away. So I've been rehabbing like some postural and mobility related stuff from years of being a guitar player. I hear you talk about, your stuff all the time on the podcast, like injuries and things and hey, drums are not easy on the body, but neither is guitar. It's like awkward myostatic holds in the worst way that you want to be, kind of thing,
Yeah. Josh from Architects, like, suffered real bad with shit like that. Just,
I wonder what he's done to overcome stuff, because for me it started with chiro to fix my forward head carriage. Like, my neck was fucked, dude, and then I managed to actually turn that around throughout the course of lockdown, when there was not much to do. At least I was able to see a chiropractor before everything shut down, and she gave me this sort of like awkward implement that you lie on to reshape your cervical. So like it puts the curve back in your neck. I bet everybody needs to do this from tech neck, like looking at your phone.
I definitely have it.
And then it'll fuck with your shoulder mobility, right? And I've already got shoulder impingement from years of guitar playing and working in a guitar store. I had a little incident one time where I was putting a Les Paul standard in a hook that was just too far out of reach, and something around the clavicle first rib area on my right shoulder kind of reset itself. And ever since then, I would get these weird sensations in the right arm. I remember recording the first Intervals EP, hating my life because I was like losing sensation in my right arm.
I had a similar thing, exactly the same area, but my own fucking dumb fault. I was doing, this is insane, I should have gone to hospital when I didn't. I was doing weighted dips with
they're bad.
With a dumbbell. And I was getting to my like last rep, and I thought I had a heart attack. Something exploded in my chest, and I shit you not, 6 months it hurt. And I should have went to a doctor and figured out what it was. Never did. And now periodically, I think the scar tissue builds up and then pulls my shoulder forward.
Yes.
And then that's when I get fucking serious injuries. Even if I double down on my back workouts and stuff, it still needs like myofascial release. And
you should go ahead.
I used to go to a chiro. I've been to like 3 or 4, and 2 of them have been good, and 2 of them have been absolute fucking just thieves.
Quacky. They can be quacky.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have fixed my hip without my last chiro that I found, because he basically fixed the problem and told me what to do and what was going wrong and whatever. And now that shit's fixed.
You should get a Theragun. It's the handheld muscle guy. Yeah. They rock. My girlfriend got me one for my birthday, and I use it every single day on tight areas. The best for releasing the neck and the traps, like the pecs and the delts and everything, is just like blast your pecs first, and it kind of lets the shoulder go, right? And then you hit the delt, bicep, tricep, trap, neck scenario, and the whole thing. If you strengthen your back the next day, or you do any sort of corrective, like, prone, like cobras off the ground with some bands or some like Blackburns or like any of that, the shit we don't want to do in the gym, the really boring corrective postural stuff, you need to loosen up the front first, right? As musicians, or just as modern humans, we're so front dominant that like you need to constantly be working on that posterior chain. It's a really big problem for me. In fact, after lockdown, because of months sitting in this chair making a record, my whole upper torso was twisted. My hips were completely out of line. Like my pelvis was completely crooked, like to the point where like one of my legs was like 1.5 inches shorter than the other. And then on top of that, thoracic mobility was really bad, and like shoulders were just junk. So I had a lot of work to do, and I still have a lot of work to do. And then they took the damn gym away. So that's not, you know what I mean? But
the thing about the legs being shorter than the other thing, right? I always find when I get my hips aligned from a chiro, exponentially helps my squat, helps me playing the drums and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I did also hear that almost everyone on Earth, because of driving, their legs are out anyway.
There's constant
So, like,
postures we find ourselves in every single day. Look, life isn't perfect. Life isn't ideal. You can't just... I think about it all the time. Like, I just went for an expensive adjustment. I'm sitting here in the car with one leg jacked up, or I'm sitting with the guitar in my lap with the right hip all jacked up. Immediately. And I'm like, I'm literally doing the thing that caused it. You just kind of have to get over that and just realize that, every once in a while you pay the money, you get knocked back into shape, and then... it's better than not correcting it at all. So that's what I tell myself. I have a question for you, though. With your shoulder thing, how do you put a barbell on your back? Does that affect? Because for me, until I fixed my neck, my fucking arms would go numb with a barbell on my back.
No, that doesn't. The only thing that bothers me is, weirdly enough, bench pressing.
Okay.
And that'll do it. Mm-hmm.
But
it's not even like, I've been to physios and stuff, and they were like, you want to use dumbbells instead? I was like, no, same amount of pain. And what I figured out the problem was, if this is tight, so I need to foam roll my chest before I go to the gym. If
or
I
a
do
lacrosse ball or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or pushing or pulling. But how tight it is, if it gets... It's weird. If I pause a bench press, we haven't even talked about the fucking guitar yet. If I pause a bench press, I don't know anything about guitar, so this is fine. If I pause a bench press,
it's fine,
and like completely lose all the tension and then go from zero, obviously it's much harder. But I don't feel any pain at all. It's like one point if we're like where hypertrophy would occur, so where the muscle is like tense, that will fuck me up. So now I pause for 2 seconds every bench, so everyone thinks that I'm a psycho, and they're like, that guy's fucking sick. But really, it's just like, if I don't do this, I will scream in pain.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, bench has never been my favorite. I definitely prefer the dumbbells and free weights and stuff. Really been enjoying doing a chest workout off a yoga ball, which is really hard to do. Like if you do chest press with free weights, but you're having to glute bridge and stabilize your entire trunk while like your upper back and your neck and your traps are resting on like a Swiss ball, because the entire thing is like, moving under you. So then you get that like stability sort of aspect. It takes the weight down in your hands, but it gives you a core workout as well as a chest workout. So that's pretty fun. I
gotta be weird with core workouts, because I can squat on tour. I can squat the day that I go and play the drums. I can deadlift on the day. I can bench on the day.
But if you gas yourself, then
if I do a fucking core workout with Drew, body weight, and then I go and try and play the drums, and my fucking psoas and everything is just fried, I cannot fucking do it, and I'm just dog shit.
So you should get a so right as well for tour. You know that thing?
So expensive. It's so expensive, and I instead I just fucking I got a Theracane,
and you just dig it in,
things, and I just fucking smash that fucker in.
Oh my
Especially
god!
if I've been a naughty boy, like, you fucking played bad last night.
Dude,
but the so rights are sick. But
the so rights
sick.
Sick.
The whole thing.
It's nice for the lower back
give me
too.
One for free.
I know.
Podcast. Give me one for fucking free.
They gave Joe Rogan a truckload of them, so you should probably get at least 2.
Yeah, exactly, motherfucker. I'm not even giving a platform to right-wing criminals,
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no.
Hey,
good shit.
We got to talk about music.
I know. I had a feeling that we would sort of just descend into this early on, but at least we got it out of the way, and now we're going to talk about music. So,
I mean, people don't really care. I think the episodes people like talk about the most are the ones with the dumbest stories. Like, no one gives a fuck. I was looking at the figures the other day because I wanted to just see how the episode with Bryce did.
I listened to that one. It was great. And, fellow Canuck as well. Fuck yeah.
It was like fucking... It's like 5.2 thousand first week.
People were stoked.
Which is like... I mean, it's not as much as music ones. Music ones are like... If it's a big person, it's around 16 to 20 or whatever. But... Yeah. I've had drummers who had less in the first week. So I think people will just want to hear people just fucking chatting.
Just chat.
Speaking of Toronto,
Yeah.
have you got Fortis? Is that in Toronto?
Yes, and
Fortis
that's where
Fitness?
I used to train with. So I went to high school with this guy Alex Fernandez, and he's a really awesome lifter, and he's a trainer here in the city. And before life got weird, I was training at Fortis with. I know a few people that train out of there, but there's a dude. What the hell is that guy's name? He has a YouTube channel and he shoots out of there.
Omar.
Omar. Yeah.
Omar. So
Omar
that's
Isaf.
how
Yeah.
So that's how I know Fortis, because I watch his YouTube channel. That
Yeah.
guy fucking rules.
Yeah, I seen him shooting in there before and stuff. I got a buddy as well, Zach Parker, who's a insane lifter. The dude's a literal mutant. And I saw him pre-contest prep in there. Training with my dude, just, trying to just get my body right. And then there's Zach just like in full demon mode. I'm just like, oh man. And he's the size of a fucking house. Like, he's just so crazy. But yeah, I seen Omar in person too. He's definitely a big guy, and he knows his shit. So
I like him because he's like 100% honest. There's so many people on YouTube who are like definitely juicing, and they're just like, I'm natty. It's like, no, you're not.
No, you're not. At least I respect the people who are just honest about it, because there's nothing wrong with not being natural. You just don't hide it. That's all. It's all good.
You're selling fake products if you're pretending to be natural.
It's all snake oil at that point. Yeah.
I would just be. I think the legality of it in America is difficult for people to admit, but in the UK, most of the bodybuilders in the UK, like the late Luke Sando and Jamie Johal and stuff like that, like they like talk pretty openly about it because it's legal to have them here. It's not legal to sell them, but it's legal to have them, so they're pretty fucking open.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
PEDs.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how we got there.
Carry on.
The only thing I was going to say was it's funny how many people from the fitness industry that you see on YouTube and stuff are actually here in Toronto or in Canada in general. So, I knew Bryce was in Calgary, and then you've got Greg Doucette's out in Halifax. He's fucking hilarious. And then Brandon Harding was here training in Toronto and living here for a super long time. And his girlfriend is from out here, and he's a Brit. And who else is here? Regan Grimes. If you know Regan, he's a big dude from London, Ontario. That guy is super jacked. It's not even fair how big that guy is, but he's from you've probably been to the London Music Hall. You've been to the London Music Hall, right?
Oh, yeah. You go out the back, there's fucking nothing there. But then there's a tiny little ramen place on the corner that fucking rules.
Absolutely slaps. And then there's also Cousin Vinny's Pizza if you go the other way through the alley. And London's sketchy.
Good Life Fitness.
Good Life Fitness. That's where I train.
In that shopping mall?
Yeah.
That's where I go when we're there.
Yeah. Good Life is the one.
$20 a fucking day pass. But it's Canadian money, so
it's nothing.
It's minus.
It is minus. Yeah, they pay you to work out. I have a Good Life membership, but it actually gets me access to a bunch of American gyms. So that's what I do on tour is Anytime Fitness, which is really only up the PNW and in the West Coast. You know the one, and they're really sick.
They're in the UK as well.
Fuck yeah.
Few and far between, but they are in the UK. I feel like but I'm going to fucking try and wind up the fitness chat. But I feel like, why is it that no one has McDonald's fitness, properly? Anytime is the only one which is worldwide to an extent. But no one's really fucking KFC'd that shit. Where it's every city in every country
has the same one. Yeah. I mean, Good Life bought all the Gold's gyms here in Ontario. Could be actually the case for Canada. Here's the last bit about fitness. My mom was 1987 women's All-Ontario bodybuilding champion before she had me.
Oh my good God. So it's in your blood.
Yeah, except she had a fucking musician's son with horrible posture.
Yeah, but he's fixing that.
Yeah, he's fixing that. He's fixing that.
I can't wait to train with you when I'm next in Toronto.
Man, I need to get it back, bro. I mean, I got a lot of limited stuff. I have to work with the trap bar if I'm deadlifting. There's no traditional deadlift for this guy. I've chronically tight tendons that limit my hamstrings. No amount of work or voodoo science can get the stuff behind my knees to release. And it's not the, because when you look into the stuff, it's like, you got to stretch. No, it's a weak muscle. You got to strengthen. And it's like, there's all this conflicting stuff, and it doesn't matter how professional or how much electroacupuncture, cupping, or wild stuff, they just won't let go. So it is what it is.
I feel like I suffer from a similar thing, because I will I do one set of squats and my hamstrings for days are dead, completely fucking destroyed. And I can't play drums when it's like that. So what I need to do, it's fine if I'm continuing to do it, but if I do like bro splits where it's like, I'll train legs and then 7 days later I'll train legs again. The DOMs last for 6 of the days and then I'm doing it again. So I'm shit at drums. So what I do now is I go to the gym 6 days a week, but I do far less. Yeah. I go legs push, pull, day off, legs push, pull.
Nice.
But
that's a good split.
I'm in there for like 30 minutes max.
Just get in, get out.
Get in, get out. I never feel tired. It's good.
So we absolutely did 23 minutes of fitness. So that's good. We got it out of our system, man. We knew we were going to do it. So here we go.
Anyone listening who didn't like that, fuck you.
No, it's all good.
Skipped it. It's on you. The technology exists for you to fucking skip
because you knew we were going to talk about.
Do it.
You knew we were going to talk about music at some point. And you didn't. You're in control, and you didn't You didn't take the wheel.
So you skip to now, and then now what we're going to do is I'm going to go. So your band is you, but it used to not be you. But before that, it was you.
Hey, he's done his homework.
So, but I remember it.
Yeah.
So before I even go on, who you got beef with?
That's such a non-diplomatic way to frame that.
I just thought it'd be funny because I just know anytime that is the case,
that's what people think.
Beef. There's always beef.
Yes and no, but okay. So I started making music with a laptop and a Pod XT in like 2010 or 2011, and I'm going to really try to give you the Coles notes. Basically, I released one song on YouTube. Intervals was just like my buddy coerced me into choosing a name that isn't my own because I just wasn't really comfortable with it. And I just chose it as a project name and just kind of is what it is. So I put that up, and that video and the song sort of garnered more traction than anything musically I had ever done with like my local bands or anything that I had ever done prior. So obviously, if you're type A like me, you get hooked on results, you want more. So I continued to write, and in the process, Matt Halpern had actually heard a track, maybe one or two. Funny enough, the first time I met Matt, we went down to, they were playing Summer Slaughter. It was like 2010 or 2011 in Toronto. It was like one of their first times in Toronto. I went down with Andrew from Structures. And because I grew up with those kids, and we used to play in other local bands and stuff. So we went down and we met Matt because we had all been internet friends. We never met in person. And I gave him a demo, and he took it back with him and was listening to it, subsequently, and then had reached out and been like, "Man, you have a drummer?" And I was like, "No, not yet. I'm just programming all these drums." And he's like, "Oh, one of my previous students would be such a killer fit for you. Maybe it could work out." And that was Anoop. So, yes. So Anoop and I connected, and he was really excited about the stuff I was writing because, one, he liked the music. Two, he liked that I program drums like a drummer because I am a drummer, which you probably didn't know as well.
I did not know that.
Drums are my second instrument, and I wanted them to be my first, but they're my second, which is why I'm able to create full compositions by myself. So I attribute that solely to the fact that I'm able to manipulate drums. You can grow melodically and do all the things on top, and you have your entire career to continue doing that. But if you don't have rhythm or pocket or an understanding of how the kit functions or how a human functions behind the kit, then it's going to be perilous for you. So so we hit it off because he really enjoyed what I was doing with the music and the drums and everything, and then he had put a playthrough on his YouTube. He asked me, do you mind if I put up a playthrough? And like, I had already known, that was not my first introduction to Anoop. I already knew Anoop because I was a fan of the guy in the red jersey smashing away on YouTube. So he's a fucking legend. So yeah, so we connected, and honestly, just to fast forward a bit, like, I rushed a bunch more material just so we could preemptively take a show that Halpern had invited me to open for Periphery. It was Periphery, The Human Abstract, Textures, and The Contortionist, and it was the Frack the Gods tour in like 2010 or 11. You probably remember.
I do remember it because I remember being stoked for Textures for finally getting to America.
Yes, fuck yeah. Legendary band. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go smash records after this. Yeah, that's a good little reminder. So anyway, basically Anoop drove 10 hours from Frederick, Maryland to Toronto, and we jammed in a room for under 90 minutes and played our first show. And and it was like just a couple other songs that I had rushed just to be able to even have a set, really, at the end of the day. And that was that was like the impetus for the inception of Intervals, really. And or conception, I should say, whichever one, doesn't matter. So basically, drummer from the Human Abstract, Brett Powell, piques an interest to what we have going on that night. The band was about to go on a hiatus. We kept in touch for about a year. I told him that I didn't want him to manage my band for a year straight. He was basically saying, I want to manage artists. We're going on hiatus. And I told him no. And then he was like, well, let me do it and show you what's missing in your formula. And I'm going to show you results that, like, I think you could attain, but we could do it faster. I'm just going to open some doors and be more organized. And I was like, yeah, awesome. So that's really kind of how things started. And created a sophomore instrumental EP, the In Time EP, which we did with Jordan Valeriot of early Structures and Counterparts fame, and it's funny because we're like one of not very many instrumental or progressive bands from Canada, let alone just in general, but we're from that like 416 905 hardcore scene, like Silverstein, Counterparts, Structures, Dead and Divine, Stray Reads the Line, like all these bands from out here, back in the heyday when there was like a scene here. So we were born from that, and I was completely content with playing instrumental music, but I did leave the door open to see what it would be like to maybe have a vocalist, because to me, being closed-minded is the antithesis of being progressive. So, and I've always felt that way from the beginning. If you're going to exist under that umbrella, you better try everything at least once. So, I decided that was maybe something we wanted to explore. And this is where you and I sort of kind of come close, but not really, because an ex-member of a project you were involved with became the touring bass player in my project, who then graduated to vocalist.
And do you know what I love? And you know what we're going to do? We're just going to call that an ex-member of my old band.
Yeah, perfect.
And that's that.
That's that.
But yeah, he joined, and you can carry on, but that's just what that is called.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
A band I was once in.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's when I would have found...
We don't want 40,000 people going there.
No, we don't have to. But I mean, you wanted to have this conversation, so I had to kind of like just graze over it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I've been baited before into like...
Yeah, we don't got
to mention... Yeah.
No,
good.
No.
Good.
All good. So anyway, basically, we were on tour across Canada with Structures. It was Intervals, North Lane, Texas and July, Structures, Halifax to Vancouver, and 2013. And we were at the West End Cultural Center in Winnipeg. And my guys took me aside and said, I had already floated the idea that maybe this individual would be, a worthy candidate of exploring that option. I never was like wholeheartedly in on it, but it is an idea that I was considering. And the rest of the group at the time had basically taken me aside in the van and said, this is something that we think we actually want to do. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to try that too. So we...
Unbelievable singer.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I'm so proud of that time period, and I'm proud of the compositions because it was a time when I could explore what it felt like to not color everything in with guitar as the focal instrument in the compositions. And I still absolutely had a lot of, interplay with the vocal and everything. And I still really felt like I was fulfilled in the compositions and doing what it is that I want to do. Talented singer, but there was just some stuff that was going on. We did about 100 shows as that iteration of intervals. Show number 1 being what's that venue? It's a German venue, and it is not Nuremberg. It is another one, and it's in like an abattoir and like a courtyard. You've definitely played there. I can't remember what it's called.
Courtyard, and if you play in the summer, they have a barbecue.
This was the dead of winter, and it was inside, so I don't know about that, but there was meat hooks everywhere. It was like an old outdoor abattoir, and it's like a bee market German city. And it's not Nuremberg. No, and it's not... it's going to bug me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not really important, but for a show... so we got started, and that, by the way, that tour was Protest the Hero, Tesseract, the Safety Fire intervals in winter 2014. So, London show for that would have been the Electric Ballroom. Fucking lineup, and dude, that bus, it was intervals, Tesseract, Protest the Hero. It's fucking sick, dude. What a bus.
I need to know what the venue is, so I'm looking it up. Continue talking though.
I might have the word sub in it. Or maybe not, and I'm making that up. I don't know. I'd have to pull that up. But so we started over there, and we did 4 or 5 weeks in the dead of winter in Europe with Protest and Tesseract, and the shows were awesome. But we were really cutting our teeth into what, you got it?
It's Karlsruhe. It's substage in Karlsruhe.
Oh yeah, that's it. Cool.
I like that venue.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. So anyway, I mean, I love playing in Europe in general. I miss it so much.
It was orange back then, that venue. All orange. All the walls, everything orange.
So basically, we did that run. We had 2 weeks off. We went right into the North American iteration of that tour. Protest the Hero, Battle Cross, the Safety Fire intervals, night verses. Yep.
Wow.
Yep, get your noggin around that.
Number 1, where the fuck is Battlecross now? Number 2, I forget how long night verses were going.
And Doug was singing in the band at the time. It was OG night verses, and those are my homies from dude, I've known those guys for a really long time. I'm wearing Riley's brand right now. Learn to Forget. I love those guys. Absolutely adore every single person in that group. So anyway, we flipped the van on that tour on the night our record came out. Let's just cut right to that. And then, and there was a lot of stuff going on, but really it just wasn't happening on stage, or in anyone's wedge or in my ears. I'm just going to leave it at that. So, so it wasn't feeling right, and things were getting tense, and we had more touring to do later that year. We went out with Periphery and the Contortionist.
Wait, I can't leave it on that. Right, so see, I had the opposite problem, where actually he was probably the best person in the band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it maybe that your levels are far too high and my levels are far too low?
No. I like stuff rough around the edges, and I give a lot of leeway with things. I'm the guy in this realm that values a human performance over a perfect performance. I think it's something that gets mixed up a lot of the time in this circle, is that we're all supposed to be robots, or everyone's supposed to be at this excellent level of... No, it has nothing to do with that.
I mean, I never did fucking entire massive long tours, so I don't know.
Yeah,
vocals is a different animal.
It just wasn't. And then there were other aspects surrounding that entire thing, and it just was getting away from the thing that it was born to be. And as a result, the energy radiating from not just myself, who I eat, sleep, and breathe this thing. This thing is my identity. It was me by myself with a guitar making music in the very beginning. And then we did open things up to, because that's stressful, like being the figurehead of an entire like thing, so I wanted a democratic, traditional band scenario, like an orthodox approach to where you can delegate and everyone's responsible for things, but it was never the case. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but it just wasn't working. It wasn't functioning that way. So basically, end of 2014 comes around, we hang our guns up, and I was having an existential crisis. I needed to figure out what to do, and I wasn't comfortable with that. And we being myself, my manager, and Anoop and Lucas and everybody, we talked about what needed to happen, and we had decided that we would leave the door open to potentially have somebody maybe audition. But I gave the disclaimer that I will not die on that hill, and that there will be music coming out regardless. So I will be writing a record, and this is an opportunity to rebrand and remarket as a trio, and that we should make the most collaborative body of work yet. And then it went radio silent on me, and I couldn't get responses back, and there was just like no one wanted to like talk or give input or listen to stuff. This is probably the most candid sort of window into this that I've ever given anybody. But I figure, you know what, you're a no bullshit guy. You're really transparent with your listener base. So it's like, we might as well just have a chat about it. So January 2015, I had heart surgery. And that was for not anything that I did to myself. It wasn't like the party, was like raging on and I hurt myself or something. I was born.
For a minute, my brain went, oh my God, that's me next.
No. I was born with something that needed to get tidied up. So,
oh, shit.
Yeah, it's called Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, WPW, and it's basically like an extra bit of electrical matter in your heart that can confuse your ticker. So it's definitely brought on by the physiological change as you get older, because the heart is just benign muscle tissue. So things do change in there as you grow and get older. And for some people, they have this and it'll never even be a factor because it's sort of like sequestered in this little like flesh cubby that's like kind of tucked away, and it'll never interrupt with the main vibe. But mine was starting to maybe come undone a little bit, and then there's like emotional things that can exacerbate that. And we were on the cusp of a brand new cycle with a singer for the first time, $35,000 in debt, independent to somebody who had just, basically invested in the group, because we had turned down every label in the game that had made offers on the group at the time. And I thought we were extremely undervalued and that I'd be crazy to give it away. So we went at it a different way, and that is resting on my shoulders. And then what's the music even going to be received like? And honestly, we started playing shows in Europe on tour with Protest the Hero before recorded music was even released. I remember being at Vega in Denmark and pre-orders were coming out. People hadn't even heard it yet, and we were just out there. People thought they were going to see some in-time music or see some early instrumental intervals, and we walk in, we have a singer. And we were just taking people completely by surprise with it. So
prog bands always do that.
Prog
bands are always just like, hey, we're just doing this now, and everyone's like, oh, okay.
I'm the
singer now. This guy's singing now.
No, you're right, but like, there's something cool about that. At the same time, though, I wanted to do a conventional rollout and really like make the space for him and for the whole thing, but there wasn't time, and we were gifted the opportunity to go to Europe with Protest the Hero. I mean, I was in the studio producing guitars for Volition with them, and Luke invited me to come to Europe, and I was like, I mean, who would say no to that? So
I've just figured out, sorry to cut in, I've figured out why it happens with prog bands.
Why?
Because prog bands bring bands that they like on tour, not business decisions. So what's happened there is Protest has been like, we really want you on this tour. And then you're like, kind of don't have anything, and we're in the middle of doing something, and they're like, I want to see your band, come on the fucking tour. And you're like, I can't turn this down. Whereas some other genres of music,
the timing wouldn't have been right for that. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be like, we don't take them, we take this band, their album's out, blah, blah, blah. I get it.
Well, shout out to
I had to get that out because I figured it out.
No, for sure. And you're spot on with that. And Protest are 100% those guys. So, yeah, man. I mean, that was basically what was going on at the time, and I was really stressed out. And then my symptoms were not so good, so I had to wait for a year. I mean, thank my lucky stars that I'm from Canada and we have the healthcare system here that, took care of it for the cost of a tank of gas between my house and the hospital. And it was an elective procedure that I waited a year for, and it's the kind of thing that would bankrupt a family in America. So it saved my life. I'm all good.
What was the symptoms, if you don't mind me asking?
It's like 190 to 200 BPM, like heartbeat.
Just out of the blue.
Like just from a thought. And just for like bending over to tie your shoes, or like just things would just set it off. So there was like a physiological thing, but then also an emotional thing, because once your chemicals get moving, whoo! So they gave me dude. I played that for a show in Germany on half a it was like 0.5 milligrams of Ativan. That's not a fun time when you have to use fucking fine and gross motor skill control in front of a room full of 1,000 people. That's not fucking. Yeah, dude, not a time. So,
what an offensive boil down to call your music. Yeah, you were playing like.
Yeah, so basically, like, crazy time for me. I got it fixed up 2015 after that whole year of touring. I lived that entire year, by the way, knowing that I had surgery coming up and knowing that I'm living with this thing and stuff. And yeah, it was really challenging time. So I got that handled. And then the first thing I did was start composing a new record, and I wasn't waiting around for anybody. So that's how The Shape of Color was written. And I decided that it was done, and maybe there's an opportunity for the guys to come in and weigh in at that point, but really the compositions were finished. So it isn't the collaborative thing we discussed that it should be or could be. So we all talked about it, and the guys seemed like they were interested in continuing on, and the material's there, and we can figure out how to make the record, but the material exists and we're going to move forward. And about 48 hours after the initial discussion, the remaining two, Lucas and Anoop, just decided that it wasn't for them anymore. So they took his side, basically. No, because they voted him off the island. So they didn't, because there was a democratic decision to let Mike go. Now, I swear I remember on the Anoop podcast, he said his biggest mental punch, whatever that is, was getting kicked out. But you're saying he didn't get kicked out? Yeah. So it's a common misconception. Apparently also misconceived by people who are part and parcel to the events that unfolded. So like I was describing, some radio silence had sort of occurred in 2015 while we were, we had left the door open for, the potential of maybe somebody filling, Mike's shoes from the perspective of vocalist in the band. And I had explicitly said it wasn't a hill that I was going to die on. So I got started writing a record in the meantime, and just to give people perspective, or anyone who, was privy to these details at the time, or, needs a better frame of reference. Imagine this. Imagine that you've spent at the time, 5, 6, maybe 7 years, whatever it's been. I think it would actually realistically be about 5 years at the time. You've spent all this time pouring every single waking moment of every day and all of your creativity into developing a musical project. It starts off where it's created of your own volition. You're making music with your guitar. You're the composer. And it's all just born of your own ideas. You get to a place where you're finding people to work with. You're creating a traditional democratic band type entity. It's gaining traction. And you sort of roll the dice, you sort of roll the dice or take a chance on, doing something new, a la having a vocalist. It doesn't work out. And there is the opportunity to return to everything that you know prior. And time is of the essence. In that situation, I know I'm posing a lot of hypothetical here, but in that situation, would you just lay down and let it all go away because people aren't feeling excited about the music that you're making, or for some reason don't want to talk or collaborate? I mean, the answer is, at least for a person like me, no, you don't just lay down and let it all go away. So I made a record, and when the time came to have a conversation about the involvement of, you know, people who are supposed to still be creating music or part of the project, conversation comes around, and it seems as if they're confused that the album even exists. And then they say, okay, well, yeah, it makes sense that, you know, you would have done that, but we're not that happy we didn't get to collaborate. And this is fair. Like I said, this is, you know, if Intervals was to return to instrumental at the time, we had all agreed it should be the most collaborative version yet. This is legitimately what I had wanted. At the same time, the entire year was ticking away, and, you know, there's a lot riding on my shoulders. My whole musical everything is, you know, at a turning point, essentially. So we had a discussion, and they had essentially said they understood the scenario at the time. And like I said, 48 hours after that initial discussion, they came back and said that they wanted to go, that they weren't happy with it. So it's contradictory to this notion of being kicked out or let go or something like that, because it just simply isn't the case. I said, music has been made. It's not what we said it was going to be. Let's figure out how we can all do this together. They said, okay, let's work on that for sure. And then 2 days later, basically, no, we just don't want that and we want to leave. So I was scared. And this is the part that I've never really got to share with anybody, is that I pleaded with Anoop to go. Lucas and I may have had our differences at times, and, you know, I may not have fought so hard for that, but everything.
Wait, to go or to stay?
No, I wanted Anoop to stay, and if Lucas wanted to figure things out with me, or we could come to some sort of amicable decision, he could stay. But I'll be completely honest, I was okay if he wasn't okay with the situation and wanted to go. We had our differences, and that part wasn't as concerning. Anoop and I were the very first two people to play the music live together. I had been composing it, but like I said, Anoop and I had met early on, and we had a connection. I mean, I'll be frank, I miss the guy. You know, we did everything together early on. And this is the part where I pleaded with him not to go, and he decided that that wasn't going to be the case. And my father called him and pleaded with him not to go, because of how important working with him was to me and everything. You know, and I mean, he had, you know, stayed and spent time in the house with my parents and shared meals, and we had done everything together, and there was a connection there. We didn't want him to go.
Why is he saying he got kicked out then?
It doesn't make sense. I'm not sure. Unless for some strange reason there, like, actually, I don't know. I was baffled by it. I listened to that podcast, and it just doesn't gel with the reality of the scenario. I wouldn't be sitting here telling you that my father and I were asking him to stay if he had been let go. I'm pretty executive with decisions. Again, I didn't want things to fall by the wayside, so I kept things moving. We had also just cut an integral member at the time. I'm pretty executive. If I told guys to leave, I'd own it. I don't lie to people.
So stuff was moving. An album was written.
Yeah,
but presumably the live drums weren't tracked.
No.
So, and it is live drums on that album.
It's always live drums on recordings, yes, but they always start by me programming and composing them.
So I'm trying to make sense of why he thought he was kicked out in my head. Like, I'm thinking maybe he thought not being a part of that creative process was not worth it to him. But once you're in the studio, you know, with a real drummer, everything fucking changes.
Everything
like the program
changes.
Drums,
yes.
Program drums are like, there, please do this. Obviously, there's different levels of, I need every single kick drum, whereas Will Putney is, I need every single fucking kick drum. But I'll let you steal some Gojira stuff. And Josh Middleton is, I need everything to be exactly what I made.
Right.
And then your flip side, you've got other guitarists that can't write drums and they just put fucking stock shit in, and then I change it to be a fantastic album. So I'm like, I'm confused.
I'm confused as well, and it took me aback when I heard that part, because so we, like I said to you when Anoop and I met, we hit it off because there was like a mutual appreciation for like how I was writing and programming drums. He was excited to play the parts ever since he started covering the material. And then once we initially had started writing with each other, there was ultimate leeway with him. Yes, I'm composing programmed drums and everything like that, but he comes in and he injects his personality into it, just as Travis did when he recorded the record subsequently, and just as Nathan's been doing ever since. That's always been the format. I really think it just boils down to us having a discussion about, if we go back to instrumental, that it needs to be as collaborative as possible. And that was something I was vouching for. I'll be completely frank. At the time, we were talking about branding as just a trio, and then we just figure out live bass when we tour, but it would be 2 guitars and drums. It's like what Animals does. We were talking about branding as a trio, and then when it looked like that, Lucas just didn't want to have a part of this, whatever this record was and everything that was about to happen going forward, which I'll admit I was okay with. I was not only pleading with Anoop to stay, I was pitching to him that we should brand as a duo.
Money. Think of the money.
I mean, it really isn't even about that. I mean, fuck, we'd still have to tour with other members and it would still resemble a traditional band. But this, I mean, look, that was a real conversation that we had. I don't know where the kicked out part came from. Like, a mental punch was maybe that the record existed, but the guys are
changed when he was playing drums on it anyway.
Yes, and it has more to do with if Lucas had weighed in on the musical content and there was more collaboration from that aspect, that maybe things would have been different. But once the entire architecture is laid out for an entire body of work, at that point, that's not when you dismantle it. You build those ideas collaboratively together along the way. You don't dismantle it later when it's finished. I've wrestled with these arrangements. They're all complete songs in my eyes. And that's why we had to have that discussion where it was like, hey, here's like, it's April or May of that year, and we're having a check-in with management for everyone to say, hey, what's going on? And I was like, the album is technically finished. We should talk about how we're going to record it and then do everything going forward. And we hashed out those details. We drew lines in the sand and said, okay, this is what it's going to be. And they were like, okay, that's totally fine. And then 48 hours later, they had convened privately and came back and said, in fact, we're not comfortable with that and we'd both like to leave.
Do you reckon maybe it was... Is this all completely independent from the singer situation?
It's off the back of it.
But do you reckon there was like a alliance between the three of them?
Yes.
And then...
Yes.
And then maybe, I don't know, maybe he thought he had to leave, but that's not getting kicked out.
It's not getting kicked out. And again, like I said, democratically, we all voted that it wasn't working with Mike, and
also,
that's the best thing.
That motherfucker did exactly that thing to me from the fucking
other band.
Yeah, exactly the same situation. And
yes.
Where I was like, you can't. This isn't right. And then he went, yeah, I know it's not right, but I'm here.
Yep.
I was like, okay.
Yep.
Please leave my parents' home immediately.
That part was crazy to me. I heard that part. I went, whoa, too real. But I mean, look,
my dad now denies that happened, right? Because it's been publicized. My dad now denies that. Let's not talk about it too much because I don't give a fuck. No one gives a fuck. In fact, statistically, more people probably give a fuck about what my fucking dog had for dinner than anything to do with that. And it was pedigree fucking chump.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, if we want to talk about fathers on record, my dad is on record and would grab this microphone and tell you how much he misses Anoop and how much and I told my dad, please do not call him, do not take this any further. And I found my dad in the backyard on his cell phone pleading with Anoop not to leave and telling him that he's making a mistake. That is not what happens when somebody is kicked out of a band point blank. I was tepid about maybe having this, talking about this, but it feels like, since it's so far away from the incident and things have been, there's an entire world, there's universes of music and laps around the planet that have happened for intervals since. So I'm not dwelling on it, and hopefully they aren't anymore either. We've all gone and done the things that we are meant to do and supposed to do, and I truly believe that. But when it comes back up and we discuss it, we being my father and I, and people who were privy at the time, close friends and people I know here in the city that were, are part of the Intervals family, and I actively discuss this stuff with them all the time. We miss Anoop and everything from that time period. They would tell you how much it all meant to me, how much I wanted him to stay, how much it meant to my dad, how much we didn't want things to change on that front, because it was he and I from the beginning. He helped me fully realize the music. Yes, I composed it and it's my baby and everything, but we would have never have done those early shows or got going. And I owe so much to him, and I fucking miss him. And that's it. So to hear that was like, it makes no sense to me, and people are their heads are gonna spin on that one, because it really doesn't. We're contradicting each other, but I can't be more sincere with not only you on your platform, which I respect, but with in the ears and the eyes of everybody who consume this. I would not point blank lie to you. I would not. So I decided I want to make this thing, and I want to make it soon, especially considering that all unfolded and I'm left back at the very beginning again, where it's just me making the music. I decided that I needed a drummer who could learn the parts accurately and quickly and deliver the drum performance so I could handle the rest of the instrumentation, and we can make a record. So I hired Travis Orban. Travis drove to Canada and we recorded him about an hour outside of the city. I made that record and released it wholeheartedly thinking that this was going to be the last thing I ever do for Intervals, because polarizing shift in the material, I put the 7 strings and the drop tunings away. I made an album in standard tuning. It was extremely upbeat, very vibrant, very colorful, very melodic, very bubbly by comparison. Not a gent record, not a metal record at all.
The Intervals of today.
Yeah. So the Intervals of today, with the record that I'm about to put out, is probably the most balanced and starting to head back in the direction. I really am scratching that itch again for drop tunings, lower tunings like 7 string and stuff like that, and more aggression, more of the metal vibes and stuff. I am bringing it back slowly but surely. But I don't ever do anything like an about face, like 180 on a dime kind of thing anymore. I try to do like a V shape with it, right? I try to gradually go in and out, because I think that's going to make the most sense. Yeah. So, anyhow, so basically what happens is I put that record out thinking it's going to tank, and it was the best thing we had ever done. And it had completely outdone A Voice Within and everything prior, and it was very clear that the core fan base and new fans were wholeheartedly embracing what this thing was always meant to be. But
I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Just while we're on that album, so you programmed the drums, and then Travis Orban played them. Is what he played 90% what you wrote?
Yes, with his flavor, and basically what we had done was we had exchanged MIDI, and then he would send me back MIDI, because he reads everything off a sheet and he reads his own. He spits out transcriptions.
He's literally Guitar Pro. You just stick the tab in front of him and then it happens. My only reason for asking that, and my only reason for saying the whole Hitler guitarist thing, obviously disclaimer, I'm not actually comparing guitarists to Hitler. It's a turn of phrase now. Deal with it. So my thing is that sometimes guitar, I'm going to say, what's the appropriate word that isn't bedroom guitarist? Because if I want to say like a blanket term on you, Misha, Tosin, the guys that make the music in the bedroom initially, without sounding offensive, what can I call you? What's that? Okay, guitarist, producer. There we go. That's I've got the bedroom away from it. So guitar. The thing that
because it could happen in a dungeon.
notice-
It doesn't need to be just a bedroom, you know.
It's just in my head. It's like that is funnier, and I don't want to make it offensive.
No, for
my
sure.
thing is like sometimes, especially the smaller ones, like not those 3 that I mentioned, will want to seem like you big boys and be like, I wrote everything, but really their like drum parts sucked. And someone fixed them, but then they still like go around going like, oh, you know, I wrote everything. So I'm always interested to know, because certainly with like, I would say with Misha, that guy can fucking write drum parts. And my favorite Animals as Leaders album, despite the fact I love Matt Gasker, like the guy's a fucking hero. I love his playing. That first Animals record will never be touched.
There's some charm with those, you know. It is a love-hate thing with programmed drums, and I've never released a Final Intervals recording that has my programmed drums on it, but I could wholeheartedly tell you right now, I could go in and print them, and apart from a little bit of human nuance and a tweaked fill here and there, you're getting the same thing. You're getting hi-hat velocities, you're getting ghost notes, you're getting left foot chick, you're getting actual cymbal accents that function properly in the place. You know, you're not getting 3 crash cymbals on the downbeat. You're getting the real, dude, it's not that. I'm obsessed with drummers. I watch drummers more than I watch guitar players on YouTube. Side stage, I did 75 to 80 shows in 2016 with Animals as Leaders. I am just glued to the drum kit, like you know.
I want them to re-record that album, but with Matt playing the drums. I would fucking
at some
scream,
point,
and they'd make so much money.
Yeah, at some point it's probably worth it, and hopefully they do. But I'm excited for new stuff from boys too, because it's gonna be insane. You know, it's gonna be insane. But
I love all of it, but there's definitely just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the fucking time in my life that I was listening to that.
It's a nostalgic release for me too.
Yeah.
And it was right around the time I was discovering all that music. And it was like, wow, there is something charming about there. And look, there's some like inhuman, like overly hyped scenarios happening on that kit performance, but there is a charm about it when it's the like, don't leave me to guess if you're natty or not kind of thing. It's like, you know, I was going
to say that when we were talking about that, I was like, programmed drums is the juice of,
it is
of the prog world.
Honestly, say your arm pads and it's good. Just say your arm pads.
Honestly, like Tesseract are juicing. And they tell everyone and it's fine. Tesseract are juicing and they don't overuse it. They've just got real nice rounded delts.
Yeah.
Like, they can probably still conceive. Like, it's fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
That is the best. If any of these fucking 7-string or any of those news websites, that's what I want of the headline. I want Tesseract juicing. That's it.
Jay Postone's nice delts, decent fertility.
Round delts, V-taper. Guy's fucking killing it. But that's what I was going to mention was the juicing thing.
Fuck,
and now I've completely fucking... Oh, so I'll get onto your new album in a minute. But the whole way through, I was thinking, is it programmed? Isn't it programmed?
There's no samples on the record, dude. That's Nathan's.
I know, because I was just wondering, like, is it just really well programmed? Because I didn't know that the guy had actually played it, and it wasn't.
It's well performed.
I think until the fucking 80s song, the best song in my opinion.
Sick.
Dose, is it Dose?
Yeah, Dose. Yeah.
I was like, that's a fucking real drummer, and I was like, and then it just went. And then I went and followed your drummer immediately.
Fuck yes, dude.
Oh my God, that's a real drummer.
Nathan's a huge fan, man. He'd love to come on, dude. He's a huge fan of you. I mean, we know you because of Andrew, for sure. Like that would be when I became from Structures. That's when I would have become aware of you, because just like your internet persona precedes the drumming sometimes, and then it's like, oh, and he's a fucking sick ass drummer. But
I'm definitely better at the internet than I am at drums. But
that's not true.
I'm fine with that now.
I geeked out and I texted Nathan just before we got on. I was like, I'm about to do the downbeat, dude. He's like, oh shit, tell him to holler at me. I was like, fucking right, man.
Do you know what? I love that you wanted to come on this, because I wouldn't typically ask you.
Dude, I've been
Like,
binging.
I was surprised. I was surprised when you messaged me. I was like, fuck yeah, you can come on.
Yeah. I've been binging it. You're fucking hilarious, and you got some really good guests. But I'm in podcast mode right now because fucking all of my touring just got deleted. So I would be leaving in like 2 weeks for like a 6-week North American run. Then we're supposed to do Europe, UK, other things, return to Southeast Asia. I mean, just before this all wrapped, we were in fucking India for 4 shows. And then we did 6 weeks with Between the Buried and Me and Sean. And then I got home for Christmas, went back to California for NAMM. And then literally I haven't seen any of my touring family, any of my crew, like any of just like people from the industry. It's just been like my girlfriend, my parents, couple friends here and there when we're fucking allowed, you know. It's like been such a fucking crazy year. But just to kind of patch in the last little bit, because I mean we did pretty much get through most of the lineage. Shape of Color comes out. I didn't think it was gonna work out, ends up being a smash for us, like on streaming platforms and just overall activity. Booking agent comes through and says, you should do a headliner in North America. Let's do like 500 caps. You get carte blanche of whoever you want to be on the tour. I was at that point, other than the odd little thing, never headlined in North America. I was like, wow, that's fucking crazy. Prerequisite is I don't want to sleep on the bench in a van anymore. He's like, cool, we'll definitely get enough for a bus. I was like, fucking let's go, dude. So we did a bandwagon, and I invited Pliny to come support, and that was the first time that he had ever played in North America. He had barely played live music other than a couple of engagements prior to that. And then we got this idea that let's cut budget and costs and everything for the both of us, and let's share crew members and let's play with each other.
The 3-piece, we're a 4-piece and we get away with some shit, but fuck me, the dream is
so we did it as a 4-piece, so we would have the same rhythm section, and then we would play rhythm guitar for each other, and then the other guy would just take center stage. And play lead. So on the Animals as Leaders run, so when it was Plintervals and then Animals as Leaders, we were doing 18 songs a night, dude, because we would do a Plenty set and then we'd do a full interval set, and all that had to change was just whoever's tuner was in the middle of the center stage, and then like we would just
wait. So the same band plays both things.
Yeah, and there's 2 different iterations. Like we would do it where Nathan was on Troy Wright was playing drums for Plenty at the time, and Nathan was also out with me. But then there was a tour where Nathan's other band was on tour with Protest the Hero, and we had to do the Animals as Leaders run, so Troy just played for both of us. So we were the same band twice.
I remember that happening. Right.
Yeah. So the best thing about that is that nobody figured it out the entire cycle that we're the same band twice, so we get double the rider on everything. We would literally get 2 bottles of Jameson, 2 everythings.
Double money, practice, like... The amount, how your fucking chops must have been so sick.
It was an insane year, dude. We were playing longer than Animals was every night. We were literally playing like 18 songs a night.
Did you do anything in between? Like, did you come off stage? Like,
come off stage, the crew would change over. We would come off stage, bang a shot of fucking Jameson, or Vitamin J as we would call it at the time. And then we would fucking throw a towel over our heads, do a fucking powwow, and get back out and go and just do my set. Change the laptop over and do my set.
That's fucking so cool.
I'm sick,
so into just fucking easiness and also making more money.
It was a
combination of the 2 things.
It was a good year, dude. We did it in Europe, we did it in North America, and then we did it in Australia.
Yeah,
super
Australia,
sick.
Best place on earth.
And Polaris opened those shows, which is fucking hilarious. Polaris intervals Plenty in Australia, and look at them now. Like, that was fucking crazy. That was 2016.
Yeah, that is fucking insane. And now they are massive. I'm supposed to have Dan on the podcast, and he's in my DMs all the time, and then I just forget.
He's a legend. You should.
I can't remember.
Love those boys.
I can't remember. I didn't have beef with them. I think when they were just coming up, I think I might have said something online. Rare. Someone was like, "Oh, you should check this band out," and I put 1 song on, and I replied, and I was like, "Oh, I already listened to Architects," and I think it got back to someone. And it was my bad. I was just in a bad mood, and I was just like, people were recommending bands, and then I listened to it properly. I was like, okay, this band is fucking sick.
That's people need to. I don't know. I mean, come on. That wasn't that offensive. It's kind of funny actually, but like look at them now, you know?
Yeah.
So that's
and at the same time, even if it was true, like every band ever is influenced by another band. It's weird for me when bands sound like Architects because they're just friends. So I think like, oh, you're just ripping on Architects. It's like was one of the biggest heavy bands in the UK, probably the biggest heavy band in the UK now. Of course, they're influencing people. As I get older, I'm getting better at being
understanding that.
Okay, I get it.
Well, this is the thing. That's a hot topic in the prog and like instrumental world is like there's so many knee-jerk reactions about what your influences must be. And the most frustrating thing is when you see somebody like inferring that your influence is something that like is like the latest prog release that came out last Tuesday. And it's like I'm hearing this influence. It's like that person is influenced by so many other things that came before them, and we're all influenced by the same things. So if you were to dig backwards, you realize that the very thing you're citing has existed in music for 15 to 20 years, and they weren't the first people to do it either. They were influenced by somebody who discovered that, and then they just did it their way. And it has nothing to do with whatever you just heard last Tuesday, and you think that that's what I'm listening to. Because my record was being written last Tuesday. Meanwhile, it's been uploaded to streaming platforms for 2 to 3 months. It's like, you seriously think that that's where I got it? It doesn't make sense.
You're so hot on this, which means something seriously happened. But they could just save their time.
Happens all the time.
The answer is actually cynic. So
yeah, the answer.
The answer is cynic. Let's go back.
Cynic or fucking Pat Metheny or fucking Steve Vai or Joe Satriani or like all the greats that came before us.
When
like,
did this happen? Recently, because you are fucking hot.
Not recently. It was Shape of Color era, and it was when the first track dropped, and there's like drop to dyad voicings in one of the riffs where it's like, you know, I'm playing root and seventh rather than power chords, and it's this like really sparse voicing, and like at the time Chon was hot, and well still are of course, but everyone's just like, oh, it's got that Chon vibe, and I'm like, ask Mario where he got that. Ask anybody who does that where they got that. Do you seriously think that that's where I found that? And it's just like that. It just gets me hot because listeners of the style.
Wait, which was the part? What was the part?
It's
like
in
voice.
It's in I'm Awake. It's like a couple of I'm playing around with that motif the entire song, but when it gets to the bridge, I'm slamming these particular voicings that are like not your average power chord. They're not the type of thing that you normally hear a rhythm guitar do.
Fucking the boingy shit. That's what I would call it.
It's a little bit on the twangy side, and it's like the way I'm voicing.
That's just drummer brain. The boingy thing.
The boingy thing. I love that. So yeah, it got me hot at the time because listeners of the genre pride themselves on being cerebral and understanding where all these things come from. But when you dig a little bit deeper, you actually find out that a lot of the people who consume this music, and not to take a dig, you don't have to be a muso to get into it. Oh yeah, Craig loves it.
Do you know what I call those
Craig
people?
Loves
you know
it,
what I
dig.
call those fucking people that listen to prog music all the time but don't really know what they're talking about, and they leave little comments all the time? Fart sniffers. I imagine them, right, to sit at home with fucking 7string.org booted up or whatever, and they're just sat together and they got a fucking mic plugged into their fucking Axe effects, and then they go and then they sniff it. One of them sniffs it. And
Dude.
Yeah, it needs more high end.
Oh.
It's got some grunt. And the other guy's like, I actually prefer mine. And then he has a fucking whiff of it. Try this fucking... What's the name of the thing with the fucking... Oh, check the impulse on that.
I knew you were going to say that. I didn't want to give it to you, though. I needed to let you find that one yourself.
Did you watch me thinking, what's the thing with the cabs? The fucking thing. Impulse.
So, look, here's the thing. I love that we're going there with this because I often, like, you know, people want to ask me questions a lot of the time, or they seriously, like, they treat what I do or, like, have this idea about me that I'm just into prog music. I'm just into this one thing. Like, I must be obsessed. Trust me, I love gear. I'm into all that stuff. I can sit and get nerdy and talk till I'm blue in the face about all that stuff. But all of my influences...
I can sniff farts is the line now. Guys, I can sniff farts.
If I have to, I will. But the thing is I'm so into things that are so far removed from this whole world, and it's where I take my influence from, and it's what I channel into the music, that winds up, you know, allowing me to feel like I am carving my own path, and that I'm not just regurgitating Dream Theater or Opeth or like the things that, you know, everybody in this world are sort of known for doing. And trust me, those are massive influences, and there's a lot to learn there. That's totally fine. But I'll be completely honest, prog music is the last thing I'm thinking about when I'm composing. I'm channeling all of my favorite music from probably early to mid 2000s. A lot of it, I'm going to say 90% of it has a vocalist. And none of that has anything to do with, like, I'm not just excited about music because it's instrumental or this or that. I have a really, really weird taste in music. I grew up going to the Warped Tour. I'm super into like the heyday Warped Tour bands and the scene and everything. And that's where I come from.
I was going to mention that when we get onto the album, and we might as well get onto the fucking album.
Let's go there.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's like some pop punk drum beats.
Yes.
And some sections where I'm like, this could have a pop punk singer on it, some fucking sexy guy, and this could be on the radio.
Yep.
And I was thinking, I wonder if these, you know, there's a fucking punk thing going. There's no, I can't think of another band in your quote unquote genre of instrumental prog metal which has the fucking punk beat.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is I'm pulling from the places, the music that I'm excited about. And when people are like, and it's so funny, they want to talk about all the other stuff. They're so blinded by, oh, you must be into jazz. You must be listening to this. It's like, listen to the structure of the song and the vibe and the attitude and the emotion. Why am I not getting like, oh, are you into these bands? Are you into this kind of thing? Nobody in, because they're not able to listen or hear, because it has nothing to do with it.
That's why I'm the best fucking podcaster on the fucking planet, and fuck all these other shitty little fucking podcasts.
No, you're spot on. You're absolutely spot on, because that's where I'm, and it's not even that I'm like listening to that music and being like, I want to put D beats in my shit. It's more so about like, that's what I naturally do, because my formative musical years came from all of that. Yeah. So we were talking about pop punk and weird influences that have nothing to do with prog and this kind of music. And so, I mean, we're probably into a lot of the same stuff. I think like a lot of the time when I do these types of things, or I talk to people that are a little bit removed from this world, they tiptoe around how to like approach some of these things, because they think, you know, oh, he makes this kind of music, so you must only be into these kind of things. But as you were saying, when you listen to the record, you were picking up on some stuff that isn't your sort of bog standard for the genre. And I also deliberately made the record with Sam, who did the latest Silverstein album. And this was, the whole idea was to take a step away from the same paths and channels that a lot of us fall into in this little microcosm. And I'm trying to embrace my influences and the things that naturally sort of occur in my music. And I want to be able to like put some shine on that and you know, do that justice. 'Cause there isn't no other instrumental music that's sort of approaching the overall vibe, like setting the stage for, you know, for the lead guitar to be playing over tops of like the kind of compositions you were describing, where you could hear like a pop punk top line or something like that. Yeah, for sure.
And there's like, is there fucking pan pipes at one point, or some sort of pipe instrument happening? There's like, I swear there's an intro which sounds.
There's a bunch of stuff,
Hans
man.
Zimmer. It sounds like a 90s Hans Zimmer soundtrack.
Talking about in the finale, and Earthing. Yeah, it's a string. It's a analog synth string composition that I had created, and then a buddy of mine, Malen, who also scored the latest Protest the Hero album, he did all of the heavy lifting when it came to the more of expansive sound design stuff, and we created that was sort of the vibe I was after. And to be honest, it is a very Hans Zimmer chord progression. It's a reapproached, sort of like reharmonized motif from Melody from the previous record that I've taken a motif from the last record and then I've sort of flipped its perspective. That song is called The Waterfront and the song is called Earthing because it's like the return from the waterfront, but with like a change in perspective. It's like a reharm. Yeah, absolutely. There are recurring themes throughout the record, actually. Song 1 and song 7, you mentioned dose. So 5-HTP is the precursor to serotonin in the body, and there is a fragment of the main melody from dose that becomes fully expanded in dose, which is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. So you get the like neurotransmitter precursor with like a fragment of it in the intro, and then I give you the full-blown suite of euphoric brain chemicals in song 7. Then they're connected.
See, now you're getting this fucking mad professor bullshit, which I love, and bullshit in an affectionate way. I mean,
fuck yeah.
I've got so many things to say about this whole thing.
Sick.
Weird synchronicity. I started taking 5-HTP 2 days ago.
Wow.
Because to try and fix my fucking brain.
Yeah.
And so I was like, because obviously I saw that was the single, but the word didn't. It was just numbers and letters to me until the other day when someone was like, you should take this natural fucking supplement that helps with your fucking brain and sleep and shit. And I was like, wait a minute, that's the same. Yeah, it's a strange synchronicity.
Yeah, for sure it is.
For the record, I feel pretty fucking good.
Nice.
And then, so the motif thing, you ever listen to that band Cult of Luna?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, they do that, like what you just said, like they'll take a motif from fucking 2 albums ago.
Yes.
And then bring it back at the last track of the newest album. And
huge.
Every time I shit my fucking pants.
It's huge, man. You know what? I found that it was happening naturally, and I used to really like almost, I don't know, I felt like before I understood what's possible via that approach, like as a, motifs and themes as a device, I was like afraid of, repetition or afraid of like these, but then I realized, you know what, it's happening for a reason. These things are bubbling to the surface naturally because that's your musical identity and you're hearing something. Now I'll tell you, it happens a lot more often than I actually end up committing to them. It's about curating and deciding when to do it. So it was the first song I composed for the record, and it was actually, the working title was The Waterfront Part 2, but because it's a reharm and it's not verbatim the same thing, I decided to give it a bit of a different spin. And, with the commentary, like the song titles and everything I'm talking about on the record, I wanted to sort of culminate the entire album with earthing, which is like, like putting your feet like bare on the ground and just feeling connected, which is like ultimately, me sort of rounding out the concept of circadian. The record is called Circadian, if people don't know that. So that's basically what I'm insinuating. And because it's like the other side, heads and tails from like the waterfront and earthing, it's like, it's just that like return to the shore kind of thing. But it's like the same motif with a different light sort of shining on it, basically. So, and I love that. The first time I ever heard a recurring motif or a theme was very obscure record here, and it's one of my faves of all time, Say Hello to Sunshine by Finch. And it's extremely progressive record. There's talk about a curveball for their fan base. They went from what it is to burn to like, we took acid and we bought jazz masters, so here's this fucking thing.
Also though, what is to burn? Some bangers.
Dude.
Project Mayhem.
Are you kidding?
Fucking heavy.
I loved early Finch and I love weird Finch. But look, say Hello to Sunshine. Come on. That's one of the greatest. It's one of the greatest prog records that isn't so it was never adopted by it's way ahead of its time. I'm still constantly drawing inspiration from it. We did a show at Summit Music Hall in Denver. We did a tour in 2018. It was an evening with the Contortionist, and the only support was intervals. So we played an hour and change every night, and then the Contortionist did 2 sets. Only 2 bands on a tour, buddy. It's a fucking dream. Let me tell you.
You are doing all the shit that I love. Oh, I got 3 members. Oh, there's only 2 bands. fucking dream.
Dude, it was so sick. 2 buses on one tour. We literally set up, sound check, and we're preset to walk on stage and play an hour every night. And then the Contortionists did like their reimagined set as their second set with like fucking cajones and acoustics. And
fucking love that album.
Yeah, dude, super sick. So basically, we're loading out or just like getting off the stage at Summit Music Hall in Denver, and Teardown music is on, and I think it was like Bite Marks and Bloodstains or something. And I was like, yo, who is responsible for this right now in the playlist? And Robbie puts his hand up, and I was just like, I mean, we were already best friends, but dude. And he was like, oh, you know about this record? I was like, man, not a lot of people in our world know about this record. That's a little secret up the old sleeve, that one, because there's so much gold on that record. And then I believe it's Ink and Fireflies that share this tiny little riff fragment. And I was like, this is the first time I ever heard a reoccurring, repeated, like verbatim riff from one song into another. And they actually only used just a piece of it, but it's very obvious that they borrowed that. And I was like, okay, the fucking gloves are off now.
It's weird that it doesn't happen that often. Like in classical music, it happens all the fucking time. That's the whole fucking thing.
Concept of a motif.
Yeah. That's why it's got the crazy word. That's why it's not just called bits back.
Yeah, the bits back, exactly.
the bits back.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
let's put one of those the bits back in it. Oh fuck yeah! On the last track, we'll do the bits back.
I'm actually gonna just in my brain. It's now called the bits back in quotations.
I'm recurring the bits back.
Dude, that's so sick.
That's the fucking degree.
Fuck yeah, dude. So I I'm pulling influences from a lot of weird places, man. I'm telling you, like I'm a My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Newfound Glory, Story of the Year, fucking Fiend.
I knew it. I can hear it in the drums.
Yeah,
and
man.
In the happiness. One of the guys from fucking My Chemical Romance followed me on Twitter the other day, just out of the blue. He only follows like
Frankie
600
Iero
people.
Was it Frankie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, why the fuck are you following me? And then
because you're funny.
Back, and then, but I was like, how does he know? Is he listening to the podcast?
One of my tour managers, Stosh Robel, who works for Periphery and a bunch of other people in this realm that you probably would have met Stosh maybe once. He does merch sometimes for Periphery in Europe, actually. So you would have met Stosh. He's like a stocky Polish dude with a beard and tattoos. Anyway,
they're all like that. That sounds really bad.
It's every.
Polish people, they're all like that.
Jesus Christ. I thought you were just talking about crew people.
I take that back. Yeah,
God.
I was talking about crew people.
Yeah, you're just talking about.
I was talking about crew people, but you said Polish, so it made it sound like I was talking about Polish people. Watch that get ripped out of context.
Oh my goodness. So yeah,
Good.
Stosh has worked for Frankie before, and Frankie's probably pretty plugged in with what's going on and stuff.
Sick.
But yeah, fuck yeah. And dude, I love all that stuff. So also like Rancid, Bad Religion, Pennywise, NoFX, like No Use for a Name,
Rancid's
Lagwagon.
my fucking shit.
Yeah, dude. My number one though from that whole world is Strung Out. All day.
So ahead of their time, too clever for their time. So back in the day, everyone loved them, and now no one cares. But it was like, you should have just come out now.
So does my shit
make the biggest band in the fucking world?
Does my shit make more sense to you now? Knowing that,
or
is it still weird?
No, it's not weird. It makes more sense why I like it more than the other bands.
Okay.
Because the other ones who are good, the Jingle Jangle bands,
Jingle Jangle,
the Jingle Jangle bands with the boingy notes. I'm like, this is fine.
Oh shit!
But I will never put it on.
Yeah. I get that.
I need to change one AirPod because I'm running out of battery.
It's okay.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah. I got you.
So they never hold my interest enough when it's like boom, and I'm like, there's just I get it, it's good, but there's something missing, which I guess maybe is just the punk thing that is somewhere. I can't put my finger on what it is, but it is in intervals. That's very interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like that energy. I like that vibe, that emotion. I like that aggression. We go nuts on stage. We don't stand still. We're probably one of the most active live bands in our little world because I hate a stand and deliver performance. Like, if that's what I want from you or like from that band and it's a seated vibe and like I'm here just to watch you just perform a fucking clinic, I'm down. Trust me, that has a place. I'm super into that vibe. But we tour with high energy bands where sometimes we're, you know, the most colorful thing on the bill, or, you know, a lot of the times we do stand out. Like, dude, we did... Oh, I can give you so many examples of festivals where we were the fucking weirdest thing, but like probably the one that comes to mind like as of late was we did So What on our co-headliner with Veil Maya, and it was fucking Vane intervals, Veil of Maya after the burial. So it was like
there's a lot of people going nuts on stage between.
We went, oh, dude, and we went fucking hard at that show because, you know, you have to, especially when we're following Vane. I was like, okay, this is a weird one.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you need to fucking cut your own heads off or something.
That's not, yes, that's the production for the next, when touring comes back. Just clean off. But one of the weirdest ones we've ever done for sure, it was one of the Plintervals sets, and it was for Plenty's show at Brutal Assault. We being Intervals, were billed to play with Tesseract and Leprous later in a place
fucking
where... I
love Leprous.
Oh, so sick. But we did Plenty's earlier in the day after, like... I don't even know, but Aborted was on next, and there was like a fucking literally like a wall of like pirouetting like, you know, illegible tree branch t-shirts just like balleting softly into each other in the mud. I
also love Aborted as well though.
Yeah, fuck yeah. But like it was such a weird billing for him, and we're playing soft, delicate like Plenty's approach is definitely a lot different than mine. Like there's crossover, and because we're friends and we've toured together a lot and stuff, like, and we do have that kind of like Intervals sort of branding that we do from time to time whenever we link up and everything. His approach is different. He's definitely on the more proggy, jazzy, more sort of ethereal vibe, where I'm just like going for, like, I have those elements, but I'm gunning for raw emotional, just like aggression and energy, you know? It's different.
Who's the one that's just full of sexy boys? The one where just all the boys are sexy. It's like one of the guitar bands.
You're probably
boys.
Probably talking about Polyphia.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of sexy kids. That sounds so fucking wrong. I know they're all of age.
I listened to your podcast.
That's the worst thing I've ever said.
I'm going to go ahead.
50 fucking episodes. 50 fucking episodes. What I meant by that was the...
Yeah.
collective term for people who come to shows and make music.
Yeah.
Like, I would say that I would say that we're fucking punk kids.
Yeah.
Because we grew up in the fucking... Yeah. So what I mean by Polyphia being sexy is they're all good looking, of age men.
Yeah. And I thought that's who you were describing when you were talking about
men.
When you were talking about boingy. They're men. They're all men. Yes. When you were talking about boingy music, I thought you were describing them because they definitely have that like jangly, and even your little karaoke ad lib a cappella scenarios was sounding like something that might be in that world. We've done a lot of stuff. I've been on 2 of their records, and on top of that, they supported me in Australia. And they supported me in Europe, actually, on the Way Forward headliner in 2017. Yeah. So, yeah. Those are the homies, though, for sure. I mean, and
they're definitely fully grown adults, right?
Yes.
Thank fuck for that.
Clay Ashelman's a fucking beast of a drummer, dude. He's...
Oh, that guy, the guy that looks like the fucking guy that tried to murder his wife.
He looks like Jesus. Oh my God, why? He does kind of look like Timbaland Beast. Wow.
Fucking, let's get all of this shit in there. The guy that looks like fucking wife murderer. Wait, this episode is nuts.
It's... you know what? Here's the funny thing. I've listened to enough of your podcasts to where I was like, I wonder if the conversation winds up being safe, or... I know that I can go filter off for sure. So I was like, I think it's gonna be nuts, and confirmed there's definitely been some unreal quotes.
It's because like COVID is like, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm here. I know I'm not a piece of shit. I know, like, I know where I stand on things, like fucking trying to murder your wife. It's like, I'm not going to be fucking... If I've got a funny joke about it, I'm making it, because I'm not going to be... Oh, I better not talk about the guy who tried to murder his wife in case I hurt his feelings. Fuck you.
We're going to swiftly evade. Although I actually am publicly on record sharing my mind about that at the time, and that would be where I'm going to leave it. So it probably is somewhere, and people could see how I felt about it at the time. However, my perspective was twisted in terms of I wrote a nuanced idea about my perspective on individuals in the music community that we're supporting, and it wasn't to do with redemption.
Okay, I need to know. You're skating around it. I need to know.
Well, the single came out, and then there was a lot of people that were on record saying that they would never support or condone anything to do with that scenario based on his actions. And then the same people were just like, "Oh man, fucking riff slap though, like really happy to see this back." And I was just like, yeah, that's just simply not going to be anything that I find credible, considering how outspoken you were about those types of things. But shiny riffs, it's like, no, that's just not going to be a vibe. So I was taking issue with that, and that's a nuanced concept, and a lot of people have a hard time keeping more than one idea in their brain when they think about these things. So it was misconstrued as, well, you don't think people get a second chance in this life? You don't believe in redemption? I was like, no, we're done. We're done with this conversation, because that's simply not what I was going for. And I do believe in second chances, and I practice. I'm a mindful individual who believes in gratitude and overcoming these types of things, and everybody, gets a second chance and stuff like that. And I'm I'm not a religious, but I'm a spiritual individual, and I am extremely forgiving and empathetic towards everybody in any situation and all walks of life. But what I will not stand for is clickbait fucking post Twitter rants and scenarios about how you'd never support anyone to do with that camp or him if he ever got out and this and that. And then when the video dropped, those same people were like, fucking riff slammed, so happy to see this band back. It's just like, yeah, you just literally did an about face on that. So that's what I was taking issue with. And some of the metal zines and publications actually reposted it was a bit of a Facebook rant. And most people understood where I was after. Mike Lassard came out and spoke about that too. And funny enough, we have shared crew, we being the Contortionist and Intervals, we have shared crew that work for that camp. And because I have an inside perspective about that entire scenario through my videographer, Mike D'Amelia, who travels with us and, travels extensively with As I Lay Dying, I know that he's done the work and he's atoned and repented and all the things that he needs to do. And he's actually a wonderful human being, and it was a mistake, and everybody makes those. And my rant was not anything to do with that. So people took it out of context. They didn't like that I was taking issue with their two-faced bullshit, basically. You know what I mean? So it's complicated.
I had a similar thing anytime I speak up about it. Oh, you did the second chance? Absolutely, sure. But maybe just not immediately back to selling out fucking arenas in Germany.
Yeah, there should be
the same fucking people, that if he fucking, I didn't want to go in on this, but we have, if he'd have fucking left a mark on her, there is no way that man would be back. But for some reason, because it was completely fucking, like,
it was just a conversation, essentially.
Apparently, I believe that people, it's more forgiveness. Anyway, fuck am I?
Just look, and just so people don't get it twisted, like, we're talking again, it is a nuanced idea. We're talking about the perspective or the stance of individuals and their perspective on the perspective. It's not necessarily like that you and I are taking a stance on that particular thing. I'm actually really just skirting around it in general because it's complex, and I'm not about to sit here and talk about things like redemption and second chances. I do believe in those, so for the record, that's the case. But it's just, there's a lot of like people who just, they know, like, when the latest tragedy comes out and it's clickbait videos and immediate content about that person, it's like, I understand, like, look, if you have a place to pay homage to, I'm really changing the tone on this, but if you have a place to pay homage to somebody, like AKA like you are connected to the family, or this is like cited as like a really big influence, somebody you've toured with, somebody that you know personally, by all means, make the tribute video, make the cover video, put it up in 24, 48 hours. But if you don't really have a place and you're just cashing in on bandwagon clickbait garbage because somebody fucking died or whatever it is, and you know that your news feed is only that, so you have to get in on the fucking party so you can get some fucking likes, straight up fuck you. Because I had people messaging me, I'll just be completely blunt. We lost a legend on my birthday, Eddie Van Halen. And I decided that I'm not going, like, not because it's my it has nothing to do with my birthday. Can I be fucking sad about it? Why does everything have to exist through my phone?
Did someone message you?
I got messages and people are just like, what? Everybody in the community is sharing photos and, and black, white, and red and this and that, and there's nothing from you. And I'm just like, I don't even want to have to explain to you that it's my birthday and I'm just busy living my life with my girlfriend and she's got a wonderful evening planned for us and I'm going out and I'm doing things that I'm not living through my phone. But on my way to pick her up so she could take me out for a nice birthday dinner in the midst of a fucking miserable ass pandemic, Rick Beato goes live and he's talking about the death of Edward Van Halen and I'm fucking distraught over it. Can I just fucking mourn?
I thought you were going to mention that you got like people saying you want to do a tribute track. I get so many anytime someone dies. Of
Fuck that.
Who are like,
fuck that.
Hey, we're gonna cover this, and then I'm like, initially sometimes I reply like, okay, where's the money going? Oh, it's just for awareness. It's like, okay, it's just so you
can fucking monetize some shit because this will be bigger than anything you've ever done.
You want me to do it, so I share it. Yeah, exactly.
No, will not. Absolutely will not. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane and just don't do anything that hurts anyone else. And just be.
That's my big thing. Like I stay out, but the minute someone starts saying anything about like a certain group of people, I'm like, okay, I'm stepping in there. You need to shut the fuck up.
No, for sure. And I can pipe up about stuff. No, absolutely. And I get really passionate about certain things, but you have to really strike a nerve. Like I'm on some different energy these days, So
on that Zen tip, I could do with some more Zen tip. I'm fucking trying.
Dude, just I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get at it. I love like nutrition and biohacking and fitness and mindfulness and all these things. I mean, have you considered microdosing? I don't know if you're into that stuff.
I have had
like sub-psychoactive amounts.
Far too many negative trips.
Yeah.
To ever want to touch any hallucinogen ever again.
Yeah, I've been there earlier in my life. Absolutely. When you don't know what it is that you're getting yourself into, the dosage is wrong or the wrong circumstance. It
just comes from the ground.
No.
I have mushrooms on my pizza. I eat two fucking bags full.
No.
See you later, brain.
Microdosing is a clinically dosed sub-psychoactive amount that. I mean, dude, I'm living my day-to-day life. Like every 2-3 days, I'm on a protocol where, dude, take it with breakfast and lift or write or do podcasts or
mushrooms.
Yeah, psilocybin. Yeah.
Do you know what hang on. Did you microdose today?
Yes.
Do you know what? I was thinking while you were talking, I was like, this guy's really fucking smart. Like the way everything comes out, I'm like, there's some fucking connections going on. And in my head, I was just like, just the fucking guitar nerd shit coming out, but it's not. It's the synapses in the brain.
I mean, dude, neurological reprogramming, and not only that, just strengthening existing connections, and even taking strides towards growing, sort of unwiring and rewiring and firing new neurons, and I mean, at this age, like, first of all, even if it's not microdosing, I feel like everybody needs to discover the holistic benefits of mycelia, because there are a whole other host of mushrooms from that family that are not psilocybin that have unbelievably profound benefits in the body. Like if anyone was going to take one supplement now, it should be lion's mane, because lion's mane mushroom so it works synergistically in the microdose protocol with psilocybin because it regrows. It essentially resheathes the neuron in this gooey coating called myelin, which breaks down over time. And this is where Alzheimer's and these sort of types of dementia and things come from. And of course, just, staying on your probiotics and your omegas and making sure your micronutrients are all topped up and getting your sleep is definitely enough. But we can also actively preserve what we have and grow further beyond that. So, everybody,
now we're getting real podcast hours.
Let's go.
Is real fucking podcast shit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could have gone there a lot earlier. We just, you got to bounce all over the place a little bit. It's all good. So the thing is that everyone associates microdosing with just it does have profound mental health benefits, like allowing you to resolve emotions that are maybe preventing you from overcoming depression and anxiety and the things that ail you mentally.
Don't gloss over that, because they're the ones that I need. Don't gloss over those.
Well, I'm going to give you...
Come back to those.
Sure, I'm going to give you a resource, though. I think that this would absolutely help. And I've listened to your podcast, and I think I know enough about your personality type to know that this is definitely the answer for you. And you can do away with the 5-HTP, and you can work this protocol in, and this is going to be what gets you beyond and even further beyond. Because I know
where there's fucking... I mean, I don't want to... criminalize myself, but I know where there's fucking Libby caps down the fucking street, and it's the right time of year.
So there's just there's just some things that you need to just make sure that dosage is correct and that you're stacking it properly with certain things, taking it at the right time, setting an intention, doing it every 2 to 3 days, not doing it every day. But the point that I was going to make was, when we're talking about rehabbing injuries, and when we're talking about retraining the body for motor patterns and things like that, postural things like a drummer stuff, guitar player, whatever, which is kind of coming full circle to what we started off the podcast with. I honestly believe that a lot of the progress that I've made was literally because I was synergistically taking something that was allowing my body to reestablish, but also grow beyond the motor patterns and neurological connections that I currently have. For example, when you have something like chronically tight hamstrings and you can't hinge properly, or you have limited thoracic mobility and you can't get the body to move past a certain point, you need to bring the body to that brink, and you need to have that intention set and use breath work and get everything to where you absolutely feel like, if I could just get, and then tomorrow watch. And then the next day, watch what happens when you set that intention. And of course, if you really want to kick these things up, there's lots that we can be doing. First of all, get the diet right. Nutrition is everything. Cause I'm reading a book.
I got my diet on lock. My diet's on lock.
I know you do. 20 grams of peanut butter. Yeah, I got it.
Exactly. The diet's on lock. The fucking anxiety brain death is fucked.
So there's a book that you should read. It's called, there's a couple, but I'm reading a book right now called This Is Your Brain on Food. And this is incredible for the connection between your brain and your second brain, which is your stomach, and understanding the gut microbiome and its influence on neurotransmitters and your brain health, and understanding that it's not your brain that's causing those issues. And it actually, even if the diet's on point, you could be lacking in a particular set of pro and prebiotics. Acid. I mean, well, it could, potentially, but it's probably more in the lactobacillus rhamnosus category. It's more in the pre and probiotic vibes.
Okay, so let me just fucking add to that, and I fully agree that there is a link there, and I don't want this next thing to be taken out of context and for people to dismiss a whole fucking ethical movement because of it. And I still actually practice that ethical movement for the most part, right? But when I had what I will say is a fucking entire mental breakdown, I had been vegan for 3 months, and it came out of fucking nowhere.
Yep.
And I mean, I've done vegan since. I've come back, but I've been more on my
supplements,
like you said, probiotics,
B12,
eating a little bit of fish, a lot more. And I feel better for it, but I'll never know if I just had a fucking, because a load of shit happened at the same time. I'll never know if I just had a fucking breakdown and now I'm like, still the ramifications of that pop up every now and again, or if that actually was caused by some sort of fucking deficiency.
It wasn't caused by, but it put you in a situation where you were more susceptible to it. It wasn't. It's
I don't want that to put anyone off, because I don't know anyone else who's ever had that.
Look, I'm not an advocate for one diet or another. I'm an advocate for the diet that works for you. But it is clinically proven that there is a host of nutrient deficiencies that come from not eating or not obtaining the fat-soluble vitamins from animal tissues. And look, there's vegan ways to get it.
Now you're getting Rogan on me. Now I need someone to pull that up. I need the fucking thing.
We need Jamie.
I know so many people who are vegan and they're absolutely fine. And I do fine on it. But I tell you what, now I'm pretty much vegan, but with fish and a little bit of yogurt. I feel fucking incredible. I haven't eaten meat in 2020.
And that's totally okay. This is what I was getting at. There's ways around it. There are vegan D3 supplements. You can get vitamin A and, the E's. There's more than one E. So you can get, tocopherols from like various different vegan sources. However, the most potent and the most natural and bioavailable for the body is to eat the ruminant flesh or the organ is death is consuming those things. And look, I'm not like the crazy dude I'm first of all not carnivore or any of these like wild things. I'm not doing any of that stuff.
I just hate the buzzwords of it. Podcast. No. Carnivore,
podcast, keto,
carnivore.
Yeah,
you got to do this, man.
No, I hate it too. Trust me. I'm an advocate for what works for you, but a lot of people aren't in tune with their body, man. And a lot of people don't know how to read what's happening. They don't know how to read their skin. They don't know how to read their sleep. They don't know how to read their stomach. The biggest thing for me, the tell-all for me, is my nerves and my nervous system and my ability to calm a thought, evade a thought, actually take my, my heart rate or my breathing into because you know what you need to do, but if the body won't cooperate, so if you can't kick in the autonomic nervous system fast enough, then there's something wrong there. Your body is trying to, your mind is sending the signals, but something's not happening. And vagal nerve tone and the autonomic nervous system are connected between the brain to the stomach, right? And that's why you feel fear in the gut, and that's why it's your second brain, and that's why the thing that's filled with this microbiome of different bacterial species is not to be discredited. And if you can take an anti-inflammatory and put it in your stomach, which then relieves a headache in the brain, tell me why something can't travel in the other direction. This is this
is fucking sick. Do you know what? This kind of podcast makes me go, I've got a good podcast.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Sometimes I do an episode and I'm like, that's just me talking to a guy. And then this is one of the real podcasts.
Yeah, dude, of course. Took us a minute to get here, but I'm always down to chop it up about the nerdy shit. I mean, I love this stuff, and I think that it's incredibly fascinating. It fixed me, man. I mean, I'll be honest, like I had a really bad experience with keto, which was the beginning of my journey to figure out how to balance my health and stick the landing on the way out.
What was the bad experience?
Well, I mean, first of all, like
just the diet in general.
No, I was into it. I was into the diet, actually. I'm super into that. I did miss carbs and crunchy things and stuff, of course, but like I think what it is there's not and also look how much keto has disappeared from the mainstream. Like you don't see it in the fitness YouTubers talking about it that much anymore. You don't see it in the podcasts all the time, and you do see the products because they made their way into the health food stores and to the fitness stores and stuff like that. But it's not all the rave anymore. And I think that whether people would like to admit it or not, a lot of people had a really bad experience with it because unless you're genetically predisposed or you have some sort of health condition that is forcing your metabolism to run on a non-glucose metabolism and to run on, basically survival metabolism, like fucking I'm about to die metabolism. Okay, so for me, I got kicked out early, like mentally I wanted to continue doing it, but my body didn't. And it turned up in my skin, on my chest and my neck. I had like a really bad breakout. It was like they called it keto rash, but it was way worse than anything that I had seen online. And even my family physician who was, and shout out to him because he's fucking great and we do have great doctors in Canada, but this is what got me onto the path of searching out holistic nutrition and naturopathy and everything and taking medical matters into my own hands, was when he was like looking at what was going on and not understanding. It looks like this, but I've never seen it before. And are you feeling okay? Like, you don't have a fever? Like, I'm like, dude, no, it's just, he's like, okay, just fucking carb up. I don't know what, it's like, okay, you really don't know what's going on here. So yeah. I did that, and I absolutely, for everything that I was doing right with doing the keto thing, I didn't stick the landing on the way out. I revved my metabolism in the wrong direction by just carbing up and living my life the way I normally would again. I did not ease back in, and that was the unraveling for me. And I had a prolonged mental period of just absolute misery. And this is when I felt my neurotransmitters and everything go out of whack, was when my metabolism reshifted. I wasn't the same person again. And it's really, really challenging. Ooh. Yeah.
Is this just we've done the album slightly, but just to bring it back, is that what a lot of the fucking song titles are? I know there's no lyrics, but is there like you're thinking about the specific thing around that same time? Like, obviously the artwork, as well as being very cynic, very tooly, it obviously is the fucking literally what you're talking about right now.
Circadian's actually more so of a metaphor for like constantly striving for balance. I've 2 records ago, there's a song called Libra, which was sort of like the beginning of me acknowledging, not that I'm like hot on like the whole zodiac thing or astrology or anything like that, but I'm an only child, and my birthday is October the 6th, my father's October the 5th, and my mom's September 28th. So we're literally 3 Libras, which is really funny, which is a perfect circle. Yeah. So sick. That's my family. That's us. And like, there's the scales always play this role in my like mentally for me. It's just more so of something I'm striving for, is like trying to find balance. Like, I live an unorthodox lifestyle where I'm my own boss and I can be away for like 160 plus days at a time a year, and trying to like maintain relationships and be the same person on and off the road and stuff. It's like always like this balance thing. So the way forward, the next record was actually more so commentary and sort of metaphor and allusion to that kind of thing, told through a bit of a different lens. And Circadian is like really a full-blown metaphor for achieving balance and me learning about these things and sort of like being in a better place with it. And these are the things that I care about, and just kind of like different concepts that I think are interesting regarding, biohacking and being a balanced, better, like optimal human being, whatever that means. But yeah, it's just the nerdy shit that I'm into and that I care about. And like, I think a lot of guys miss they sort of lose the plot on telling like a proper story with this music. It's a lot of like ambiguous random words from Wikipedia and just like random generic space blob scenario on the cover. And I'm not taking a dig at anybody.
When I saw
or whatever,
5-HTP, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I had the supplement in my hand and was like, wait a minute,
that's just word. Gibberish. Yeah. No, there is a competent story that's being told, not necessarily like, like along a timeline or any particular, like there's no like act 1, act 2 with like characters or anything, although the way forward was a little bit more like that. This is me just trying to create an overarching concept and put sort of little bullet points underneath that umbrella, basically.
Did you say there is a commentary?
Commentary and sort of it's more of an implied commentary through the song titles and everything.
I thought you had like one recorded.
Oh, I would love to actually do an audio version. I usually write like a text dissertation of everything that's going on. And Colin from Circus Survive created all of the paintings for the art, and he's very, very left brain, very cosmically minded. And he and I had a conversation at the beginning of the year that absolutely led to a lot of the things that were on my mind. And there was some strange synchronicities and a bunch of things that he and I talked about, and we felt a bit of a connection. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, Colin is the guy to tackle this project and bring it to life for me. And I'm so happy with the visual aesthetic to complement everything that I was trying to create. So yeah, it's
obviously we're on fucking 2 hours now.
Let's go.
That's long for the Downbeat. And there's a few things. I'm fucking hungry and I need to pee, but I also need more wisdom from you. So I'm gonna fucking
let's pack a little more in, man. Yeah.
And then we're gonna do your top 5 bands at the end. Fuck, I might even have to break to pee in a minute. But seamlessly, the listener will not know that happened, but they will know now because I've said it that it has happened.
Perfect.
The microdosing. So, long story short, my brain's fucked. And what you were saying about almost like the rehab for the brain, the fucking
and the body
reprogramming neurological things. That's what I say when I'm fucking literally bawling my eyes out to my girlfriend for no reason whatsoever. I'm like, I just want someone to fucking wash my brain. Just go in there, fucking clean all the shit out because there's something in there.
Yes.
And fuck it off. My 2 problems, and this is not like me disregarding modern science or whatever, but for me, the previous medication that I'd been given, I tried 3 different ones, and I didn't get on with any of them, so I just gave up. It was like, I honestly think the scientists go, well, okay, do you want to be fat or do you want to have an orgasm? Pick one of those. You want to? It's like not. It's they are mutually exclusive in the world of fucking anti-anxiety, anti-depressants. Which, for certain people, I'm one of those people that if a thing on the back, and I don't even have to read it, if it's like 1 in 10,000 people will have this side effect, I'm the motherfucker that gets it. I deliberately didn't check with all these fucking meds whenever I started taking them.
You just tried them.
I'm not going to read those because I know that I'm a fucking psycho.
Hypochondriac.
I'll like make it happen. And then I'm like 3 days in on one, and I'm like, I'm thinking about killing myself far more than normal.
Yeah.
And then I look, and it's like 1 in fucking 10,000 people, it will make it worse. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, probably stop that one, and then go on a different one, and I was like, I just got really fat, and then I was like, went to the doctor, I was like, oh, I'm really fat, and I can't do anything about it. And they're like, oh, that's a known side effect with that one. Okay, is there another one that doesn't have the oh yeah, you can try this one. Okay, now my penis won't work. So, and then they're literally, the doctors just go, I mean, that's. Which do you want? You want to kill yourself, or you want your cock to work, or you want to maintain your physical fucking fitness goals? Yeah. And for me, none of that works. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and fucking figure this out on my own. No. And I'm getting there.
We can get it. We can get it faster. You can get there.
Fucking.
I'm going to give you some resources.
Yeah, give me that shit.
I'm going to give you some resources.
My worry is fucking, I'm literally terrified of tripping because of
You're not going to.
Times.
You're not going to.
And then my other worry is like come downs.
You're not going to.
I hate come downs.
It doesn't. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. So the book I'm currently reading, which is something that I think you absolutely need to read, is called This Is Your Brain on Food. And she is a nutritionalist, psychiatrist or it's a really interesting, how often do you hear the two come together? They're two.
Josh from Architect's wife is one, and she's told me to read that book before, and I ignored her, and now you're telling me, and I need to not.
Yeah, you need to read it. So this is what it talks about. It talks about the gut microbiome and its effect on brain chemistry, and that it's not necessarily the thing that you substitute in place of the medications. It increases the efficacy of those should you feel that you need to bring those in on top. Because a lot of the time, and this is the thing with a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, serotonin is produced in the stomach, it's not produced in the brain. So the gut microbiome has a massive impact on neurotransmitters and brain health because they've done research to show that certain types of probiotics and gut bacteria and things exist within people that have a higher quality of life versus those that are depressed. And just by flipping a switch in the quality of life in that individual, so that could be a car accident, the loss of a loved one, a relationship. If you were to take a snapshot of their gut microbiome, there are like 50 different bacteria that exist inside the same individual within the matter of like a week or two. From the shift in their perspective, it changes the activity inside the stomach. Okay.
Crazy.
Yes. This is why the pre and probiotic thing is so important. This is why you're doing the yogurt. That's fine. You should probably bring in a little bit of kombucha. You should we
don't have that in this country, but I have.
What?
Probiotic.
There's no kombucha.
There is, but it's like fucking. You can only get it in some crazy shop. It's not. And I don't know where that shop is. It's not like it is in the States.
Sauerkraut.
But
kimchi.
I take a fucking probiotic pill.
Yeah,
that's fucking lactobacillus.
Yeah. Okay, so that's totally fine, but getting them from highly fermented food sources is going to be so pickled things like kimchi, sauerkraut, pickles themselves, kefir, or kefir or whatever, yogurt, all that stuff. 100% getting it from, just like with any nutrient, it's always better to get it from a food source, of course. So that's one thing. But I wanted to mention that because the efficacy of some of those drugs is actually based on your gut microbiome. So getting that in a certain position is going to allow them to work better. However, it's not going to thwart those side effects that you're describing. So here's what I would do. And disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I am not a trained...
You are a guitarist. I was just thinking that in my head. I was like, this guy's a fucking guitarist. I'm loving this, but we have not spoke about a fucking spalted maple fucking top.
We won't ever speak about spalted maple tops. That's totally fine. Fuck it. So look,
I don't give a fucking goddamn shit about your fucking, I play a fucking EMG humbuckers thingy.
That's Josh's game. That's Josh's game. That's not my game. So look, this is what I want to say though, is if I was your doctor and I'm not your doctor, I would recommend a liver cleanse to start. I would wash that bitch out and I would get the whatever it was that you were taking out of your system. I would flush the liver. There's a couple ways to do
it. That was a long while ago.
Okay, perfect. Either way, everyone needs a liver cleanse. I would recommend it. So start there. Then
how do I do that? Vodka. Sounds like a vodka. Sounds like a vodka thing.
16 ounces of celery juice in the morning. Warm water with lemon and apple cider vinegar.
Now, right. So now all of these buzzwords to me, and I know that I'm the wrong person. Buzzword of just fucking.
Dude, it works. The shit works, man. It works. It works. Yeah. And there's a couple other ways to do it.
It probably does. There's probably a fucking reason. And I'm being the worst person there by just thinking.
Bitter greens,
like bedding because you have celery in the morning. That's why I just immediately pigeonhole those people. Like, oh, celery juice and fucking turmeric? When was the last time you fucking washed your sheets?
Dude. Holy shit. That's unbelievable. Yeah, okay, look, I'm probably boring people with this, but yeah.
No, I need to know because I'm going to do it.
Clean the liver out, and it's not something that you can do like a really intensive blast, and I would recommend it to jumpstart things, but it is the kind of thing that I would just work into your daily practice. And then I would bring in a efficaciously clinically dosed protocol for microdosing. And it's going to be in the form of it. Look, if there's anyone that makes them properly, makes the doses properly for you, it'll be stacked with lion's mane and niacin, so vitamin B3 and lion's mane, and the correct dose of the active ingredient. And you take it in the morning with your first meal and a coffee or whatever, and you throw it in with your supplements or on its own, however you like to do it. Just take it with your first meal and set an intention. but don't act like, oh my God, I just took mushrooms. Because first of all, you're not going to get high, because that's just not how it works. It doesn't move the needle that way. What you're going to notice though is how productive you were that day and how little you thought about everything behind you and how excited you were for everything in front of you.
So this is my other problem with non-conventional things, because on paper, right, that sounds fucking fantastic, and in my head I'm like, I'll just do that for the rest of time, which for a minute I thought, oh, I can't sleep, I'll just take Valium before I go to bed.
No.
I'll do that forever. Now that cannot recommend.
Don't do that.
But then, like, what do I do? What do I do if I go on tour? It's fucking illegal to have the mushrooms.
Is it?
So, yeah.
Well, I really...
I'm flying to America with a fucking visa, and I just get fucking processed, dried magic mushrooms.
No, they're in
class A drugs.
Okay, I do not care. I will speak openly about this. I travel around.
It's fine, but I mean, I want to fucking.
I travel around with a pill divider, and when we did Southeast Asia, so I started in Singapore.
No, don't tell me that.
I had the biggest fuck off pill divider that was filled with my fish oil, and with
one of those with my fucking shit in it.
Yeah, it's not, dude. I was throwing that thing around at security. They would pull it out of my backpack because I would just keep it on me.
You should not be talking about this right now. You'll get pulled up.
No.
So honestly, some fucking kid will tip off someone next time you're playing one of these fucking things.
What, that I had lion's mane mushroom and B3 in a capsule that's all legal and that I could buy at the store? I was traveling around with
the other thing.
It may or may not have been in there. It didn't matter. I was just traveling around with supplements.
I mean, yeah. There are some... melatonin is illegal in the fucking UK.
Yeah, doses of vitamin D3 over 1,000 IU are illegal in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't want anyone's testosterone level to be accurate.
I take 5 times the fucking dose of the...
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I take 5,000 IU a day. Anyway, so, it's possible. First time a buddy of mine gave me the protocol was in Vancouver, and I was in the middle of a North American tour. So where do you think I went?
Yeah, but Canada, your mushrooms are legal, aren't they?
Yeah, but I was in a North American tour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, that's fine with me, I guess.
No, it's not fine.
How I always feel, if we're talking really candidly, that's how I always feel about fucking juicing. Because sometimes I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. I don't care. I'm just going to fucking get a little fucking protocol. And then I think, what would I do in America?
No.
And I think, just fucking get a guy.
No.
I'm not going to do it. Anyone listening, my mum's listening. I'm not going to do it.
It's for later in life when...
when it drops and then you just get it legally.
That's for later.
That's what I'm waiting for.
That's
I wait
for
till
later
40,
in life.
I go, doctor, I think the muscles go. And they go, right, boy. Here's a prescription.
There's fucking nothing wrong with that. Why wouldn't you want to have a good life?
100% doing it.
Yeah, there you go.
100% when my test levels drop, like naturally, I will just restore them to 18-year-old boy, and I will live out the rest of my days. You'll
be better than you probably ever were. Honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing wrong with it, my friend. And I don't know that I'm fully decided, but I'm not against it. So I'm not against having a good life and not being a miserable fuck to your partner and to everybody around you, and like not being...
Well, apparently it can go the other way. Apparently, if you're using that defense in fucking court, if we want to bring this whole thing back...
Oh, shit. No, we're good. But look, I mean... Off air, you and I can talk about what I think could do some wonders for you, and I wholeheartedly back it. And I've actually had this very conversation with a lot of complicated individuals in my life who this has made an extreme amount of difference for.
Is there no chance it would make me go more mental though?
No, dude.
Because I can't handle that.
No.
I cannot handle being more like today I'm absolutely fucking very chipper. I'm in a nice mood. Yesterday, also actually, nice mood.
Yeah.
The day before, tears all day. If we'd have had this fucking podcast 2 days ago,
oh shit,
it would have got cancelled. You would have got the cancelled.
I would have been bummed out, man. I gotta say, I was looking forward to it because I'm just a fan. I listen to him all the time. I think you're a funny dude. I'm doing so many of these that I'm looking for the refreshing ones. I'm looking forward to those because if I am going to hang out with a microphone in my face and sit for hours, then it's going to be like this. It's got to be. So, but you know what? All of the rest of that discussion is for you and I to have another time because we will continue to keep in touch, and I'll definitely share some.
That,
yeah, well, yeah, we'll share some resources and stuff. I'll show you some really good things that I think are going to help you, and you can trust or not trust me, but it's going to be really good for you. I promise. So if we want to get back on track musically, we can do that because I'm sure you're itching to get going, and I've probably got a few things I need to do. I'm working on a collab with somebody that you know.
Well, who is it?
It's Mr. William Putney, but I'm probably not.
Are you
actually
not allowed to talk about it?
Well, I am because it's gonna actually comes out before my record comes out. I think the stems and the video is due in on Tuesday. And I can talk about it. Fuck it. So basically, every year, Tune Track for Metal Month does this thing called Drumception, where a producer composes a track that's drums only, and then like 4 guitar players are selected. So
they never pick a drummer to do it, always a producer. Anyway, carry on.
Well, Will made a fucking banger.
All right, he's fucking really good. So good at programming drums.
Dude, the shit rules. I was so excited. The minute I fired it up, I was like, yep, this is going to be sick as fuck. So I jumped on it a couple of days ago, and I still really have the writing bug because I finished up the record in the summer, and we're just kind of I'm just rehearsing for videos and stuff and doing the rollout now. So I'm super hungry to continue like writing, especially with no road. It's like I fucking have to have it. So this fell into my lap, and I'm really excited about it. I'm a big fan of everything Putney does. In fact, he and I talked a couple days ago, and he was on the list for me to do this latest record with, but I'm silver lining we didn't book it because there's just this little thing called a global pandemic that's happening, so I wouldn't have been able to go. I haven't
heard of it, but that's another podcast.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll send you a resource. So yeah, I would have gone to Graphic Nature and done that, and we certainly would have booked that in. And my manager knows him well and stuff, and my manager Rich handles 4 Year Strong, who did their latest record with Will, and I fucking love that album so much. Oh my goodness.
I think he knows Tom. I think they're buddies.
Tom works for my manager's company. Tandem Management. Tandem Management is Richard Fernandez. That's my manager. He handles me, Protest the Hero. The other part of Tandem is Paul Kohler from Silverstein. So it's like
just while we're on it, have you ever heard the band that Tom manages that
Cryptodira?
Prog? Yeah,
they're supposed to be on my tour that I would leave for in like 2 weeks, and they were on my tour with Veil and Maya, my co-headliner with Veil and Maya.
Have you heard the new record?
Dude, they're first of all sick as fucking dudes. Also sick as fucking music. They're so sick, dude. We love that band.
And they're like kids, but they have like this knowledge of old prog.
They're fucking sick, dude. Yeah, they play like a bunch of old heads. Yeah, they're so good, dude. But anyhow, so I've had a blast composing this track, and I messaged Will to be like, I did not do the fucking bog standard like riff salad thing. I wrote a full tilt intervals tune. Like I'm sending you more than just like a couple of riffs, and it's just like whatever. Like I put the kitchen sink in it. There's like hella synth layers and fucking harmonies everywhere. There's like full on leads and everything. So it's basically an intervals times Will Putney, whether or not it's being acknowledged that way or not, because it is for this strange little project. I want to figure out a way to release that on streaming platforms. This song absolutely fucking slaps because it's like metal intervals with like my vibe on top of it with fucking blast beats and shit. It's so fucking sick, dude. You're gonna like it. I'll send you a clip soon. So I'm working on that, and fucking I don't know how we got there, but I'm a big fan of what's going on there. So
you were basically saying I have to go because I'm doing
this.
So
I don't have to.
Really quickly. Album's out November 13th, correct? 14th?
No, November 13th. Yeah, November 13th. There'll be a single that comes out at the beginning of November. We got one more up our sleeve. Features probably my favorite guitar player of all time, which is amazing that he was gracious enough to play on the song with me. It's track 6 from the record. It's called String Theory. He's an Italian guitar player named Marco Sfogli. He's fucking godly. Like there's so much attitude in that fucking solo, and he delivered for me. So we feature him in the video. And I'm shooting the video for this collab with Putney on Saturday with my guy as well. And there'll be a full-on playthrough for that and everything coming up. But yes, record comes out November 13th. We're doing a billboard here in Toronto for a month. Big ass billboard in downtown Toronto. Super fucking excited for that.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah,
if you didn't have a girlfriend, that's the sort of shit you could walk around and be like,
that's my billboard.
Yeah, that's me, motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's
me.
It's the album cover, enormous on a billboard, dude. How fucking dope is that going to be?
That's getting your dick fucking hard. You're at semi-tumescence for the whole month.
Dude, it's good. It's real good. So yeah, so we're doing some cool shit like that. And then of course, we're doing the crazy PR run, and then we're going to try to figure out. It's complicated because half the band is American guys. So with the pandemic and everything going on, it's been really challenging. I would have jumped on a live stream or some sort of other interactive type of thing with everybody if we could. We can't do it though. So it's challenging, but I'm just going to continue writing. And, if anyone made it this far, just check out the record. The 2 singles that are out right now are just fucking flying on Spotify and on all the other platforms. And it's been probably the strongest received intervals material yet. I feel really good about it. There's definitely some, it's all the things that I wanted to do with the music, but then there's this shade of weird, whatever this pandemic vibe was, considering I started writing the first song right after NAMM at the end of January. And I, from rump to stump, made a record and we're dropping it this year. So, it exists within the fucking, confines of whatever 2020 is.
Wait. Where's Nathan from? Is he from Toronto as well?
About 40 minutes from me.
So you just recorded. Okay, so you were able to get together to do that.
We could do that, and then Jacob did.
We didn't talk about the fucking production of the album at all. We talked about the gym, and we talked about mushrooms, and it's 2 hours and 21 minutes later.
That's so sick. No, we didn't talk about any of that, but I've talked about it in other podcasts and stuff like that, and it's all good.
Anyone that wants that shit, go listen to fucking Billy's blog where we talked about the fucking humdinger, pick up fucking TRS cable, impulse, fucking
I love this
coil over.
Dude. I was just picturing when you read Guitar World and they draw the little diagram with the little signal flow and
coil over, bird's eye maple,
the
neck,
the humdinger TRS impulse coilover bird's eye neck. Dude, it's fucking
bird's
insane.
eye neck, spalted maple top, and the fucking robot tuning shit that Gibson did.
No, okay, we can do with everything except for that part. The fucking Dusk Tiger. That's what this shit was called.
I have no idea. I know that
it existed.
Josh got a Silverburst fucking
that had that on it.
I believe Les Paul, and it had that on it. And he had to spend so much money to get it off. Anything I know, all of those words I just know from knowing Josh. Come round to my house back in the day and be like, oh, I just got this thing with a fucking humdinger, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, cool, bro.
The buzzwords that you chose specifically were so good. I love that so much. So fucking yeah, man. I mean, no. If people want to know about this stuff, I've talked exclusively at length. I did a Neural DSP live stream, and we talked about all the goings on. And I also have a fucking studio documentary that's on my YouTube where we literally talk about the making of the record and everything. So that's not what this. No,
the gain is on there, guys.
It's yeah, exactly.
You need the gain settings is on there.
Yeah, this is not what this podcast was for. So, yeah, man. No,
Scooped mids. I don't know what I'm saying. They're just things I've heard.
I gotta remember all these.
Will, when we're recording with Will, he'll do something, and I'll just pop in and be like, "It's a bit boxy at 400."
That's the frequency that.
So it's in there. It's in my fucking head.
It's between 250 and 400, but yeah.
It sounds boxy around 400. Can we maybe multi-band that?
Multi-band. Dude, I'm going to remember all these for the caption when we post the podcast. That's good. So, yeah, I know we're bursting at the seams because this one's long,
it's long. I need your top 5 bands as well.
Yeah, we're going to
do them real quick.
I'm going to give you that.
Reel them off.
I love that music is just the least important part of this whole thing. That's great.
I love that. And to be honest, I think
here's the thing.
I pride myself on it.
Here's the thing about top 5 bands, okay? It's not possible. So I've preemptively created you a list of things that matter to me.
It better not be more than 5.
Okay, then I'll just pick the 5 that stand out on this list for me today. It's a couple more than 5, but it's not.
Here's my opinion with top 5s. There's 3 that are definite, and then you have 2 rotators.
All right, cool. So we talked about one of them already, and I mentioned it, and it's definitely "Say Hello to Sunshine" by Finch. It's definitely in there for sure. Which is just a huge record. Okay. Some of them I put slashes because you know that there's like really like it's like 2 records for the same artist because you cannot make me choose. So I'm gonna bundle some of them. I know I'm breaking the rules, but it is what it is. Fortress and Keziah by Protest the Hero. They're interchangeable, of course.
But you just say Protest then. I just need the bands. I don't need the album. Or are you telling me that you think the rest of their discography sucks?
No, I'm not saying that. You want top 5 bands. You don't care about You don't care about the albums. You just want the bands.
I care about the band, and then I'll say which album.
Okay, so Finch is definitely not a top 5 at all. Then I just chose the record because it's an important one, so I'm complicated. Okay, so Strung Out, Thrice.
Okay. Ooh.
Sixth.
We could have talked about Sixth for an hour, man.
We certainly could have.
We're going to actually talk a tiny bit about Sixth after this because I need to.
Thrice, Strung Out, Sixth, Protest the Hero, and...
See, this is the rotator. Now you put in what you're listening to now.
Right now I'm hot on that latest Silosis record, but that's
That's the humdinger himself.
And I'm loving that new Architect song, and people are salty, and they can all shut the fuck up because it is so good.
Is it? It's so good. I know it's not technical, but it's like.
Well, this is the problem with people, isn't it? But dude, I had some, but no, for sure, and they just don't get it, and that's fine.
I'm allowed to slag off your fan base. You're not.
No, I'm allowed to say that.
I'll do it for you. Fucking nerdy little fucking jingle jangle ba 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 ba. When you fucking recognize a song, you fucking dicks.
Wow, anyway. That's crazy. There was a bunch of stuff on this. There's a bunch of stuff. Okay, yeah.
You're desperate to tell me. Just fucking read the list.
No, there was like a few more weird things on here because I didn't give you anything outside of rock and metal, which is like I'm so eclectic.
I know you need to get it out, so get it out.
I had Pendulum and Imogen Heap on my list as well. So
I listened to Pendulum when we've been having fucking like. Me and my girlfriend have been having like COVID parties and we'll just fucking slam Pendulum on and get fucked up. Dude, it's just 2 of us in the fucking flat on our own.
Immersion is a huge record for me. I fucking love Pendulum. So yeah, I'm into a bunch of weird stuff, man. I'm all over the place. That doesn't even scratch the fucking surface. But you wanted to talk about Sixth. Yeah.
I just really quickly, like when they came back, what did you think?
I love everything they've ever done. And Dan Weller hit me up the other day to tell me he loves the record, and I fucking cried.
My first band, I actually recorded our album with Dan and Justin.
Legends. Fucking legends.
Man, I just feel like they fucking... The other vocalist, man.
Dude, it's weird, man. It's supposed to be weird. Look, I prefer the more melodic stuff. The spoken word stuff always... Look, listen to Death of a Dead Day and ride your bike from downtown Toronto to the suburbs on acid, and then you'll be like, oh, I fucking get it.
I loved it, but then when it came back and it was like there was no Justin, but then there was... It felt like there was way more fucking spooky guy.
Yeah. Spooky.
Do you know what I mean? The fucking... I'm a chicken in a cage. There is a man. What does he say? The man says, I'm the king of all men. You are not a king. That is fucking accurate.
I'm fucking crying. That is actually so accurate. I mean, if they ever need you, you can audition.
I can fucking do it. I get it. It's art. It's poetry. The guy's fucking... I gather he had the artistic vision for the fucking song.
He's the prog Bob Dylan.
Get it? But he must have like a decent screaming voice or something.
All this weird shit. Yeah.
I am the Willy Wonka man. Are you the Willy Wonka who owns the chocolate factory? I am that same he. I am that same he. I am that same he.
Dude, you're so good at it. It's actually fucked up. Holy shit. Look, Death of it.
I'm not stop being such a cunt.
You know how good that was too, and that's why you can't handle it. Holy shit. Look, Death of a Dead Day is one of the greatest records of all time.
It's fucking incredible.
So hard to fucking, outdo that one. So it is what it is. I love that band dearly. And I discovered them through Protest the Hero. I remember Protest had come back from like one of their many, first like Europe or UK runs. And I think they did shows with them. And I was super young. I was playing in local bands. I was just lucky to even fucking get to talk to any of the Protest guys. This is well before intervals or like I, became friends or like worked on their records, like, whatever. And I remember them being like, oh, we found this band called Sixth over the pond and fuck, like, you got to check it out. And it's like, man, blew my absolute mind, like head clean
Doing
off
it
my
before
neck.
everyone.
Doing
Just
it
unbelievable.
so ahead of their time. So yeah, they're just
Trees
legends.
Are Dead and Dried Out. Some of the songs on that
Great record.
are from like 2000.
Yeah, absolutely, and a great record. But Death of a Dead Day is the fucking sick.
definitely fucking
It's just unbelievable. So yeah, man, I love that stuff, and hence why I love Protest. And I like my proggy, weirdy, nerdy.
Protest do the crazy vocals, but they're like fine. That's fine.
Well, Protest are more rooted in that like propaganda, strung out, like thrashy, punky. Which is why. Obviously it's my speed and I fucking, I grew up on that and I grew up all the things that influenced them too. So, like that's where, I don't know, I feel like a lot of us in this like neck of the woods have that like vibe about us. We like that kind of shit. So
I wonder if the English accent, spooky fucking, are you the man from the castle? Like, I wonder if it's the fact Americans love it so much is because it's an English accent, which makes it even weirder. Like the same time when I watched like fucking, was it like The Conjuring or something I watched and they had like English accents, but they weren't English. And it was like, all my American friends that like horror were like, this movie's amazing. I put it on and there's like a kid like, hello, mummy. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Is that how that kid talks for the whole film? Mummy, I think there's a little monster in my bed. I'm like, fuck this. And that's how I feel about the man. Are you the cabling man who is here to design my mind?
dude, my own private sixth like vocal ad libs. This is so
I'm
fucking
gonna release fake six songs. I'm gonna say insane shit,
please,
like cancelled shit,
please,
and I'll
please
put it on fucking Spotify under that guy's name. No, I won't. I
No,
would never do this. But
you
imagine
can't
if I
do
did, just said insane fucking unheard of shit in his voice, and then put it up as his name. Oh my god, I'm never gonna do that.
That's unreal.
I will never do that, but it would be fucking insane.
That's unbelievable, man. Well, you're really good at it, and I think you should do something with that talent because
Cover band.
We can't let it go to waste, man.
Cover band.
Yeah.
Give me some dreadlocks. I'll do the cover band.
Holy shit.
I'll do a fucking cover band.
Dude, it's it's uncanny, really. Actually, it's incredible. Well, if anybody has made it through this, shout out to them because I've listened to your podcast and this might be one of the longest ones.
This is the longest one. This is the longest one.
And why is that?
2:30. It depends if I cut out some of the shit where I could have been cancelled. I'm gonna have to re-listen to it and be like, am I getting away with this? Not like I'm getting away with it. I know, obviously, morally I'm getting away with it, but
fuck, dude.
Will the subtle nuance of the rhetoric and the sort of character I was doing come across well as a clickbait headline? And if you've got this far and there's nothing where you've thought, that doesn't sound like that could be cancelled, that's because it's not in the podcast anymore.
There you go. exactly. We worked it out.
Right.
Good shit, man.
That's it. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, dude, I had a blast, man. It was a really, really good time. I was
just like that. My girlfriend's home, right on time.
Perfect. Love it.
But I haven't done the fucking laundry, and I said I would. Oh no. Okay, right. Let's fucking close this out. Send me your file. Text me your fucking mushroom shit.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. It's been a fucking pleasure.
Absolutely. I'll send you this right away, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, bud.
Later, buddy.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.